Hollywood, starred as an agent. Welcome back, brave explorers of impossible worlds. We are excited to have you here to continue this odyssey together. Before we continue, everything you'll hear is pure fiction. So please don't try to replicate combat techniques at home. This wonderful story and all its rights belong to its brilliant original author. We are only the messengers of entertainment. Want another dose of adventure? Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a single chapter. And if you can't wait, our Patreon has exclusive surprises you'll love. Chapter 426 Shocking Transaction. In the hotel room, Aaron sat on the couch with Rockets general manager Ray Patterson and head coach Rudy Tomjanovich, discussing the situation. If we trade for O'Neal, we'll have to give up Hakeem Olajuwon. We don't have enough cap space, general manager Ray Patterson said, glancing at Aaron. Next year, their combined contracts would exceed the salary cap. However, the Rockets had Hakeem Olajuwon's bird rights, and they could use them to re-sign him next year. But if they'd brought in O'Neal with a maximum salary, how much would Olajuwon's new contract have to offer? They could let O'Neal take less this year and make up for it later. The key was Olajuwon's contract next year. The Bulls had offered him $30 million a year to keep Jordan. Last summer, the Knicks signed Patrick Ewing to a 2-year, $21.72 million contract extension. The contract stipulated that Ewing's annual salary for the previous season, 1995 to 1996, was $18.72 million, but only $3 million for the 1996 to 1997 season. The Knicks made this move with the intention of pursuing Michael Jordan this summer, but unfortunately, it backfired. Aaron certainly had plenty of money, but if Hakeem Olajuwon and Shaquille O'Neal were to stay together, their combined salaries would undoubtedly exceed $30 million next year. The Rockets already had other players, making that salary prohibitive. Aaron wrapped his hands on the table, his mind racing. Could he possibly keep Olajuwon? Then trade him, Aaron said, though perhaps a bit harshly. Given Olajuwon's situation, the Rockets couldn't compete with the Utah Jazz and Seattle Supersonics in the West. With O'Neal, Olajuwon was no longer necessary. Head coach Rudy Tomjanovich's eyes widened. Are you really going to trade Olajuwon? Aaron spread his hands. Olajuwon will be 35 next year, and injuries are coming. If the Rockets want to remain competitive in the future, they must have a young core. Now's the chance to get O'Neal. We can't miss it. Besides, Olajuwon's contract expires next year, and if he renews it, his salary will definitely increase. Are the Rockets also going to give up and compete for next year's number 1 pick, Duncan? Trade both Olajuwon and Rodman, and any other veteran players who need to be traded can be traded to free up salary cap space. Get O'Neal and give him a 7-year, $120 million contract. Ray Patterson's hands trembled. A $120 million contract, Aaron nodded. Also, I heard the Suns are going to trade Charles Barkley. Maybe we can bring him to Houston. As for Olajuwon, there is no shortage of suitors. There are many teams that want him. Alright, let's do it. We can't get Jordan anyway, so let's go all out for O'Neal. Having made his decision, Aaron immediately gave the order. After Rockets general manager Ray Patterson and head coach Rudy Tomjanovich left, Aaron went to the window. That evening, Aaron nestled in Jennifer Connelly's arms, enjoying her gentle touch. The Rockets will trade Hakeem Olajuwon. Otherwise, we won't have enough cap space to sign Shaquille O'Neal. Well, it's good that you've made the decision. However, when this news gets out, I'm sure Rockets fans will be heartbroken, Jennifer Connelly said, kissing Aaron on the cheek. After all, Hakeem Olajuwon had been with the Rockets since they drafted him with the first overall pick in 1984, and he had been instrumental in their rise to prominence. Furthermore, he had helped the Rockets win 2 championships just 2 years prior. Whatever, it's what it is. Aaron had no choice. If he missed out on a player like Shaquille O'Neal, he would regret it deeply. Jennifer Connelly said nothing, covering Aaron's mouth. Soon, the heavy breathing of a man and a woman could be heard from the bedroom. The NBA market was abuzz. 3 days before the opening ceremony of the Atlanta Olympics, the Houston Rockets announced a blockbuster trade. They acquired Charles Barkley and Kevin Johnson from the Phoenix Suns, but also traded Hakeem Olajuwon. They also traded Dennis Rodman to the Chicago Bulls for Steve Kerr. Hakeem Olajuwon's departure shook the league, and the shocking trade between the Rockets and the Suns captivated the media. The next day, the Houston Rockets announced Shaquille O'Neal had signed a 7-year, $120 million contract. Shaquille O'Neal became the league's third billionaire, following Juwan Howard and Alonzo Mourning. It was also the most valuable contract in the NBA to date. The Houston Rockets' series of moves stunned the NBA. While they gave up veteran center Hakeem Olajuwon, they brought in Orlando Magic center Shaquille O'Neal. Together with Charles Barkley and Clyde Drexler, they formed the Rockets' Big Three. Charles Barkley's contract wasn't due until 1998, and with only 2 years remaining, it was only $6.8 million, a steal. At the Great Western Forum in Inglewood, Los Angeles, Lakers general manager Jerry West paced his office, a look of disbelief on his face. Lakers owner Jerry Buss sighed and said, somewhat helplessly, losing O'Neal is unavoidable. The Rockets had been planning this for a long time. Hadn't everyone agreed to pursue Michael Jordan together? Why did the Houston Rockets just spend $120 million to sign O'Neal? We're a step too slow. Jerry West was frustrated. He had just acquired the young high school player Kobe Bryant from the draft this year. After failing to pursue Jordan, he turned his attention to the Magic's Shaquille O'Neal, but the Rockets snagged him first. It would have been difficult for Michael Jordan to join a team other than the Bulls. Other teams didn't have Jordan's bird clause, and the salary cap space certainly wouldn't have satisfied Jordan. The Knicks could free up $15 million in salary cap space, and behind-the-scenes owner it would also offer a $15 million advertising contract with its Sheraton hotels. However, the Bulls had their heads around it and signed Jordan to a one-year contract worth over $30 million. Jerry Buss smiled helplessly. Who could have imagined Aaron Anderson would trade Hakeem Olajuwon? Hakeem Olajuwon had been the cornerstone of the Rockets for years. However, trading Olajuwon for Charles Barkley and Kevin Johnson not only saved salary space, but also increased the overall strength. After all, with O'Neal joining, the Rockets' inside line is worry-free. Chapter 427 There is no way. The Houston Rockets' drastic offseason moves were met with disbelief by many, especially the Magic, who were still reeling from the loss of Shaquille O'Neal. Naturally, the news had also alarmed the NBA. In the Olympic Building in New York, at NBA headquarters, Aaron, sipping tequila, declared in Commissioner David Stern's office, the Rockets' contract with Shaquille O'Neal is absolutely legal and compliant. Adding Charles Barkley's contract, it's also reasonable. We even traded Hakeem Olajuwon. The Magic's front office had complained to the league, alleging a backroom deal between the Rockets and O'Neal. David Stern had come specifically to question Aaron. As long as it's legal, he said, adding that his team had indeed found no irregularities in the Rockets' operations. I just didn't expect you'd be willing to part with the Rockets' cornerstone for years. Aaron spread his hands. It can't be helped. The Rockets don't have any lottery picks. Olajuwon is indeed a symbol of Houston, but he's getting older, and the Rockets need a future core player. The entire league knows O'Neal's strength. Rockets, how could we miss him? My goal has always been a championship. David Stern nodded. Michael Jordan's free agency this year would have been enough to attract attention. The Knicks, Celtics, Rockets, Lakers, and Bulls were indeed competing, but unfortunately the Bulls had a natural advantage. David Stern sighed. In just 20 days, the league has seen several astonishingly high-priced contracts. Aside from Michael Jordan's contract, the $3 billion contracts with the Rockets, Heat, and Wizards have scared many team owners. Washington Bullets owner Abraham Palme had just announced a change from the Bullets name, which had been used for 31 years, to Wizards to commemorate the victims of gun violence in the Washington area. Aaron shrugged. It's unavoidable. The last collective bargaining agreement negotiations failed to pass a hard salary cap. While rookie contracts are in place, there's no specific maximum salary. Big city teams, with their money, can certainly pay top dollar for star players. Houston's market, while not exactly small, certainly doesn't compare to New York, Los Angeles, or Boston. But he owns the Rockets, a wealthy man with plenty of cash. He'd just won 2 championships and built a new multi-purpose arena, making the Houston Rockets' influence unprecedentedly high. After leaving Manhattan, Aaron returned to his villa in East Hampton, Long Island. What's wrong? Monica Bellucci saw Aaron sitting on the sofa and walked over to kiss him. Nothing, just a small thing. Aaron pulled the girl into his arms. It was just that the Houston fans were upset after learning Hakeem Olajuwon had been traded. But he had added Shaquille O'Neal and Charles Barkley to the Rockets, so they were definitely stronger than before. However, The Rockets still traded Dennis Rodman to the Chicago Bulls, allowing Phil Jackson to complete his Iron Triangle offense. Michael Jordan, Sticko Pippen, and Dennis Rodman perfected the triangle offense. There was no way around it. Dennis Rodman was such a hated guy, few teams wanted him. Aaron, Twister has already grossed $220 million in North America and over $200 million overseas. It's doing really well. Monica Bellucci was genuinely excited. She was the star of Twister. Aaron smiled, reaching into the woman's arms to feel her 30-60 breasts. It's really doing really well. However, the real breakout performance was Roland Emmerich's Independence Day. Less than a month after its release, it's already surpassed $200 million in North America and $250 million overseas. Monica Bellucci moaned, embracing Aaron's head and kissing him passionately. Meanwhile, Sony Columbia Pictures is developing Starship Troopers, an adaptation of Robert Heinlein's novel Starship Troopers, and has partnered with Disney. Sony's TriStar Productions and Disney's Touchstone Pictures are producing the film, with Sony distributing it in North America and Disney Buena Vista International handling international distribution. Sony and Disney have invested $100 million in Paul Verhoeven's Starship Troopers. Separately, Universal's Air Force One has officially begun filming, starring Harrison Ford. As a major American film, Air Force One has received strong support from the U.S. military. Filming began in Columbus, Ohio, with assistance from various branches of the U.S. military, as well as the Ohio and California National Guard. The war drama The Flying Dagger, directed by Edward Zwick and starring Denzel Washington and Nicole Kidman, opened in theaters. It grossed $12.5 million in its opening weekend, but received less positive reviews than the director's previous films Ghost and Legends of the Fall. While The Path is a controversial film that has sparked considerable discussion, its profound exploration of human nature, society, and the military, set against a backdrop of the Gulf War, and its exposure of numerous flaws has garnered considerable praise. However, lead actress Nicole Kidman was clearly dissatisfied with the film, which fell short of her expectations. After all, for such a serious war drama, Kidman genuinely wanted to win awards. Both Denzel Washington and Kidman were working with director Edward Zwick for the second time. Furthermore, Matt Damon, a young actor in The Path, had just finished filming Good Will Hunting for Crescent Moon Films and had been offered a role in a new film by renowned director Francis Ford Coppola. Damon's dedication to filming The Path was evident, as he lost a staggering 40 pounds. Clearly, his dedication paid off. His performance impressed director Francis Ford Coppola enough to cast him in the lead role of his new film, The Rainmaker. After directing Bram Stoker's Dracula, Francis Ford Coppola returned to run his own winery. Last year, he returned to directing the comedy Jack in the House, which just released and is already preparing for his next project. The Rainmaker is also based on the novel of the same name by renowned American author John Grisham, much like Universal's currently developing The Gas Chamber. Chapter 428 European Vases. Aaron didn't pay any attention to director Francis Ford Coppola's comeback. After all, Hollywood was no longer his era. On the bed in the bedroom, Aaron rolled off Monica Bellucci, feeling the girl's sexy and voluptuous 30-60 body, and couldn't help but say, "You are worthy of being favored by the creator, the muse." Monica Bellucci's face flushed, and her strong capital rubbed against Aaron. Director Bernardo Bertolucci has a new film released, and it has a very good reputation. It was also nominated for the Palme d'Or in Cannes before. Aaron smiled. "I know. You are talking about the erotic drama Stealing Beauty, right?" "Yes, I attended the premiere of this movie last month." Monica Bellucci is also Italian. As her fame in Hollywood increased, her reputation in Italy became even louder. Critics praised Stealing Beauty as a highly regarded film, and Aaron recognized the lead actress, Liv Tyler. The Los Angeles Times commented, "For most directors, Stealing Beauty is a strange panacea. For its director, Bernardo Bertolucci, it's almost uncharacteristic. But it's consistent with the nostalgic mood of his films." The Chinatown Journal commented, "Stealing Beauty is both beautiful and deeply creepy." The Chicago Sun-Times commented, "Stealing Beauty plays like a line a wealthy old man would say to a teenage model, suppressing its wit and irony." However, Aaron had long collaborated with Italian directors like Giuseppe Tornatore. As for veteran European directors like Bernardo Bertolucci, they were clearly not part of Dawn's plans. "Did you shoot a suspenseful romance in France earlier this year?" Aaron inquired. "Yes, it's called The Apartment, and it's the work of a new director, However, the male lead in it is called Vincent Cassel, and I don't like him very much. When we were on the crew, he actually asked why a French movie would look for an Italian heroine. Is there no actress in France? Monica Bellucci is now famous in Hollywood. Unlike her previous life, she wasted her time in Italy, but the Italian film industry was lacking, so she went to France to seek performance opportunities. Vincent Cassel. Aaron then looked at the girl in his arms. Isn't this guy Monica Bellucci's future husband? It seems that the two met during the filming of The Apartment and then started dating, but now, it is obvious that Monica Bellucci has a bad impression of Vincent Cassel. Just a small person, it's okay, Aaron said, rubbing the girl's body. Whether it's Monica Bellucci or Sophie Marceau, they're both beautiful European actresses, but their acting skills are definitely lacking. Their main role in films is to showcase their charm, lacking the training of stage productions. Christiana Yeri, while also a beauty, does have some acting skills, but she's not particularly interested in acting. Acting is just a job she can replace at any time. Monica Bellucci smiled. I know that. My main career is in Hollywood now. I'll only go to Europe if there's a script I like. For example, dramas like The Apartment can hone her acting skills. She's definitely not interested in those old, crappy films that just had her stripping and showing off her body. With that, Monica Bellucci sat on Aaron's lap. Honey, Houston, River Oaks Villa. Aaron sat on the sofa, toying with a gold coin. Jack Wells, sipping his drink nearby, his face filled with surprise. I can't believe the Rockets actually traded Hakeem Olajuwon. No wonder Houston fans are so mad. Texas Cowboys, each one more irascible than the other. Hakeem Olajuwon and Shaquille O'Neal were both members of the Dream Team III, currently competing in the Atlanta Olympics. Aaron shrugged. But we got Shaquille O'Neal and Charles Barkley. Our bench depth is also improved. With O'Neal, replacing Olajuwon is no problem, Jack Wells nodded. Shaquille O'Neal's ability was undeniable, otherwise, the Rockets wouldn't have signed him with a league-high $120 million contract. Furthermore, it made Shaquille O'Neal the second highest-paid player in the league, second only to Michael Jordan. Besides, if I don't sign O'Neal, he'll be taken to Los Angeles by the Lakers. Colorado tycoon Philip Onschutz was helping the Lakers build a new multi-purpose indoor arena in downtown Los Angeles. What would happen if O'Neal joined them and formed the OK combination with Kobe Bryant? Jack Wells smiled. I heard the Lakers also want Olajuwon. I wonder if the Suns will let him go. Aaron spread his hands. Who knows? The NBA is a commercial league. As long as the price is right, it's fine. In the early morning, Jack Wells and Aaron were still hanging out at a Houston nightclub when they received news that the Atlanta Olympics had been bombed. It's true. An hour ago, there was an explosion in Atlanta's Olympic Centennial Park. There was a concert going on there. At least 100 people were injured and 2 were killed. Jack Wells shook his head. America had been through a lot this year. 10 days ago, a Boeing 747 en route from New York to Paris, TWA Flight 800, exploded over the waters east of New York City, killing all 230 people on board. In May, a DC-9 en route from Miami to Atlanta, ValueJet Flight 592, crashed into the Florida Everglades, killing 110 people. Aaron asked, is it a terrorist attack? America is so unsafe, I really can't go to crowded places. Jack Wells simply threw up his hands. Maybe, who knows? By the way, are you going back to Los Angeles or New York? Aaron shook his head. Never mind. I'm going on vacation in Europe. Yeah, that's nice. The next day, Aaron boarded a private jet to the Mediterranean resort of Saint-Tropez, a small town in the Var department of the Provence-Alpes-Côte d'Azur region of France, located between Marseilles and Cannes, about 100 kilometers from the regional capital, Marseilles. Chapter 429 Shootings every day. On Marseilles' Promenade des Anglais, Aaron and Wang Xiuxin drove a convertible sports car, enjoying the coastal scenery. After arriving in Saint-Tropez, Aaron called Wang Xiuxin and asked her to come to France and visit the wine estate in Bordeaux. Aaron, I heard that European castles need to be carefully maintained, right? Yes, those historical castles need maintenance. The castle I bought for you isn't really a historical site, it's basically all modern facilities. Wang Xiuxin nodded. I heard there was a bombing at the Atlanta Olympics. Was it serious? Aaron smiled casually. It wasn't so bad. Only 2 people died, 2 were seriously injured, and 110 were injured. It's not a big deal. In the United States, There are shootings every day anyway. This is nothing. Besides, one of the two dead was a Turkish journalist. The United States is really not safe. Wang Xuexin shook her head. By the way, how is the VCD market in China now? It's getting better and better. In the past 2 quarters, the shipment of VCD players has exceeded 2.8 million units. It is expected that the overall shipment this year will definitely exceed 6 million units. Wang Xuexin listened to Aaron and invested heavily in Zinc VCD, spending a lot of money on advertising. She is now the spokesperson for Zinc VCD. With financial support, the popularity of Zinc VCD spread quickly, and the factory kept expanding. China has a large population and cheap labor. You can invest more in population-intensive enterprises. At least the government will support you. Manufacturing is definitely the focus. Now Hollywood and some international electronics manufacturers are working together to step up the development of DVDs. This will definitely be a devastating blow to China's VCD industry. This is because the patent barriers of DVDs will block the profits of Chinese manufacturers. Well, I know DVD is an upgraded version of VCD. If the situation gets out of hand, I'll sell my shares in Zinc VCD. Actually, China's economy is still relatively backward, and people's demand for goods is mainly limited by price. Aaron nodded. It takes time to promote DVDs and bring down prices. At least before the millennium arrives, VCDs will definitely be the mainstream in the Chinese market. Earlier this year, the World Trade Organization, WTO, officially replaced the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade. There are now 115 WTO member states. China is in the process of negotiating its accession. Once it succeeds, its economy will surely develop rapidly. At night, at a resort hotel in Saint-Tropez, Wang Xuexin lay in Aaron's arms. Over in Hong Kong, Stephen Chow's film The God of Cookery, invested by Media Asia, is preparing to participate in this year's Venice Film Festival. By then, I think I'll go to Italy as well. Wang Xuexin has been very busy this year. Not only does she have her own films to shoot, but Media Asia Films has also invested in 3 consecutive Young and Dangerous series releases, plus Stephen Chow's The God of Cookery. Aaron smiled. People should always balance work and rest. Wang Xuexin kissed the man. This year, several Sugwang films were introduced to mainland China. Waterworld grossed 34 million RMB, and Broken Arrow grossed 50 million RMB. Currently, Twister and The Rock are also waiting to be released. Aaron smiled. It seems the import department in China is quite optimistic about Universal's films. However, Sugwang Universal International only gets a 13% share of the box office, and with videotapes and VCDs, it's not much either. This year, Sugwang Universal and Sony Columbia both established offices in Beijing, China. Last year, Warner Bros. And Paramount established offices in Shanghai, China. Given the current Chinese market and the volume of 10 imported films, a 13% share wouldn't be enough to attract Hollywood's attention. However, China's massive population makes it a compelling proposition for Hollywood. Entering the market is all about cultivating the market and preparing for the future. The decision-making power over the 10 major imported blockbusters currently in China rests entirely with the China Film Import and Export Corporation. Most other foreign films enter China through exclusive imports, appearing on VCDs and videotapes. Wang Xuexin sighed. The Chinese film market is now dominated by imported films. There are no local films on the box office charts, only Hollywood and Hong Kong films. Aaron kissed the woman on the cheek. We have to take our time. Film production in China isn't even open to private companies right now, not to mention distribution. It takes time. After all, Chinese film production companies and cinema chains are currently state-owned enterprises. Without private capital, where would the vitality come from? Because Wang Xuexin was very busy, she flew back to Hong Kong after 3 days in Saint-Tropez. Just as Aaron was about to return home, he received a call from Cate Blanchett in London. Aaron immediately traveled to London and brought Cate Blanchett to his vacation villa in Ibiza, Spain. Cate Blanchett has been invited by Australian director Bruce Beresford to star in his new POW film, Road to Heaven. She'll play an Australian nurse held captive by the Japanese during World War II. So, is it filming in the UK? Aaron held Blanchett's arm on the villa's balcony, admiring the Mediterranean view. With her blonde hair loose and casually wrapped in a bathrobe, Blanchett leaned into Aaron's arms, letting his hands play on her breasts. I'm here for an audition in the UK. We're filming in Penang, Malaysia next? Aaron nodded, lowering his head to kiss the woman in his arms. From what you're saying, it's just a supporting role, right? That's fine. Working with veterans like Glenn Close and Frances McDormand is satisfying. After all, Road to Heaven is my first Hollywood co-production. Blanchett thought it was okay, at least the script was meaningful. Road to Heaven is funded by Village Roadshow and co-produced by British and American film companies. That's fine. I'll arrange for you to appear in some Hollywood movies. Aaron leaned over to the girl's ear and said, "How was it? Did you get some rest?" Cate Blanchett smiled. Wasn't the rest in the bathroom enough? Aaron shook his head and scratched the girl's chest. Cate Blanchett turned around, put her arms around the man's neck and kissed him. "Let's eat something first." Aaron nodded and immediately made a phone call to have the food prepared. At night, Aaron lay in bed, reaching out to stroke Cate Blanchett's blonde hair, breathing rapidly. "Honey, when you finish filming Highway to Heaven, come to America to see me." Yeah. The busy Cate Blanchett could only respond to the man like this. Chapter 430, New Movies Every Month. August, the 26th Summer Olympic Games concluded successfully, and Aaron returned to Los Angeles. The Atlanta Olympics marked the first time in Olympic history that all 197 recognized National Olympic Committees sent delegations to the Games. Furthermore, over 8.61 million tickets were sold, setting a record for attendance and generating $12 billion in commercial revenue, making them the highest-grossing Olympics ever. In a West Hollywood nightclub, Aaron embraced Catherine Zeta-Jones, sipping champagne and enjoying a rare moment of leisure. "Universal has a new movie coming out. Haven't you been paying attention?" Aaron nodded. "Yes, it's the fantasy film Dragonheart. I know. Now, with the Dawn series, there's a new movie coming out every month. How could I possibly keep up with every one of them? With film studios like Dawn Pictures, Universal Pictures, Crescent Films, and Twilight Pictures, along with other partnered independent film production companies, Dawn currently has a significant portfolio." Catherine Zeta-Jones kissed Aaron on the cheek and smiled. "I met Kate Beckinsale a while ago. Scream really shot her to fame. Scream 2 is about to start filming, and she's really looking forward to it." Last year's Scream not only grossed over $160 million worldwide, but was also voted the most popular horror film of all time by E! Entertainment, the nation's largest television entertainment network. Scream also won this year's MTV Video Award for Best Picture. With such impressive commercial success and acclaim, a sequel was a natural fit. Director Wes Craven hopes the sequel will match or even surpass the original's quality, so Twilight Pictures brought back the original's creative team, including Kate Beckinsale, David Arquette, Christiana Yerry, and Jamie Kennedy. "By the way, how's your comic book-based superhero movie, The Phantom, doing?" Catherine Zeta-Jones starred in The Phantom, which was released this summer. It didn't do very well. It flopped," Catherine Zeta-Jones said somewhat helplessly. "The Phantom's reputation wasn't very good either." Aaron smiled and said, "I'm having an adaptation of the musical Chicago, and filming will start next year at the latest. You can take a role then. You still have your dancing skills, right?" Catherine Zeta-Jones nodded. "I've been a dancer since I was a child, and I'm a national tap dance champion in the UK. Of course I still have those skills. They really helped me when I was filming The Mask of Zorro." "That's good," Aaron said, patting the sexy woman in his arms. "I'm going to the bathroom soon." Aaron left the bathroom and walked down the hallway when someone came towards him. "Aaron, oh, it's Jerry." Yes, it was none other than Los Angeles Lakers owner Jerry Buss. "Good evening, what a coincidence," Jerry Buss greeted with a smile. "The Rockets' moves this year have been truly astonishing. Signing Shaquille O'Neal from the Orlando Magic with a max contract has left the Lakers deeply regretful." Aaron took a drag on his cigarette and tossed the butt to his feet. "It was just luck. You Lakers were so close to signing him, you just couldn't do it right. Shaquille O'Neal wasn't a man of integrity, all he needed was a good price. The Lakers certainly had the resources to sign him, but it just took time." The Rockets' immediate offer of a $120 million contract caught other teams off guard. "By the way, Johnson probably won't be returning after his retirement, right? You know, Johnson's return last season scared a lot of players. After all, he's HIV positive, and the league's players were quite critical of his return. Don't worry, Johnson's body isn't strong enough for the intensity of the game anymore," Jerry Buss said, spreading his hands. Magic Johnson's return last year brought the Lakers considerable publicity, but faced with complaints and boycotts from most players, Johnson had no choice but to announce his retirement once again. Aaron nodded and patted Jerry Buss on the shoulder. Isn't Philip Onschutz busy building a new stadium? I believe the Lakers will be great again once they move into their new stadium. Without Shaquille O'Neal, Aaron couldn't imagine what the Lakers could do. Would they rely on Kobe Bryant? Without Shaquille O'Neal, the Lakers would have a hard time competing. After all, Kobe Bryant was just a rookie. The Los Angeles Lakers' chance to rise had already been interrupted by the Rockets. A new stadium? I'm looking forward to it, too. Jerry Buss knew a new stadium would bring significant commercial benefits to the team. Just look at the Rockets' significant increase in ticket sales, souvenirs, and in-stadium advertising after they opened the Dawn Center. Afterwards, Aaron and Catherine Zeta-Jones returned to the villa in the Glen community of Beverly Hills. Well, Aaron, do you want to take a shower first? On the sofa, Catherine Zeta-Jones was pressed under Aaron, her clothes half undressed, and she responded to the man's passionate kiss while asking, "Well, dear, no hurry." Aaron's hands did not stop moving, taking off the girl's bra and caressing her softness. Catherine Zeta-Jones smiled and cooperated in taking off their clothes. After an unknown amount of time, Catherine Zeta-Jones lay weakly in the man's arms, her tired body dripping with sweat. If Chicago is officially prepared, there will definitely be many female stars flocking to it. Of course, Catherine Zeta-Jones herself is also looking forward to it. This kind of work has a natural attraction to the Oscars. Last year, Disney's Hollywood Studios adapted the musical Evita, attracting a significant number of Hollywood actresses. Unfortunately, due to the film's numerous musical numbers, the director ultimately chose Madonna Ciccone to play the Argentinian First Lady. Don't worry, there are 2 important female roles in Chicago, and one of them will definitely be yours, Aaron reassured Catherine Zeta-Jones, patting her on the back. For the other role, Aaron was considering newcomer Charlize Theron, who he had recently arranged to join the cast of Scream 2. Aaron wasn't sure what would happen when filming began on Chicago. Chapter 431 Important People in DreamWorks. That morning, Aaron sat on the balcony of his villa, sipping coffee and flipping through the newspaper. Capcom's horror game, Resident Evil, was a huge hit on the PlayStation and in the North American market. 6 months after its release, Resident Evil had already sold 600,000 copies, earning rave reviews. The gaming industry. Aaron put down his coffee and pondered. Sugin's current businesses spanned film, television, music, newspaper publishing, broadcast networks, theme parks, and cable TV, but the gaming industry wasn't there yet. I wonder if Blizzard Games has been established yet. Aaron knew, of course, that the game company behind StarCraft and World of Warcraft needed to be acquired soon. Aaron, what are you thinking about? Suddenly, Catherine Zeta-Jones, wrapped in a white shirt, walked over, sank directly into Aaron's arms, and began to kiss him. Aaron responded enthusiastically, caressing the woman's thigh. Hollywood, Universal City. Steven Spielberg's office. Steven Spielberg, who was filming Jurassic Park, The Lost World, returned to take care of some DreamWorks matters. Richard Lovett, chairman of CAA, came to visit and presented him with a script about World War II. During the Normandy landings, 4 brothers from a family all enlisted. 3 died on the battlefield, and the U.S. War Department recalled the youngest child from the Normandy battlefield. After reading the script, Steven Spielberg expressed interest. "What is this project?" Richard Lovett smiled and said, "Producer Mark Gordon recommended the story to Paramount. Paramount was very interested and had someone adapt the script. Then, Mark Gordon gave the script to director Michael Bay, but he wasn't interested in directing, so I brought it to you." Richard Lovett knew, of course, that Spielberg had always been interested in war-themed works, and the script, Saving Private Ryan, had humanistic significance. Steven Spielberg nodded. It was the early days of DreamWorks SKG. Jeffrey Katzenberg was developing the animated features The Prince of Egypt and Ant-Man, and had recently acquired a script from Mice Hunt, but Spielberg, as one of DreamWorks' 3 main executives, also had to consider the company's interests. DreamWorks needed projects to build its brand. "I'm interested in this project. I'd like to get DreamWorks involved. I'm planning on making Saving Private Ryan a major hit for DreamWorks." Richard Lovett thought for a moment. "I think it's not a problem. Paramount is very willing to collaborate with other film companies to mitigate risk. Besides, since Spielberg is directing it, DreamWorks should be able to get involved. Richard Lovett understood Spielberg's intentions. His next task was to help DreamWorks secure the North American distribution rights for Saving Private Ryan, with Paramount handling the overseas market. After all, overseas distribution was too difficult for the newly established DreamWorks. Steven Spielberg nodded. Then I'll start working on Saving Private Ryan after I finish working on Jurassic Park, The Lost World. After conversing with Spielberg, Richard Lovett left the office with a sigh. DreamWorks SKG had recently built its new headquarters in Glendale, but Spielberg still worked in this luxurious office inside Universal City. DreamWorks SKG had to pay Universal Studios a hefty rent for Spielberg's office every year. Furthermore, Spielberg was only handling Amblin Pictures matters here. Even though he had helped found DreamWorks, he still received a normal share of the profits from filming for DreamWorks. Aaron, of course, was unaware of DreamWorks' collaboration with Paramount on the war blockbuster Saving Private Ryan. At that moment, Aaron was in his Burbank headquarters, focused on the Blizzard game he'd been dreaming about. Oh, it was originally called Silicon and Synopsis. It was founded in Irvine, California in 1991 by 3 UCLA graduates, Mike Moher, Alan Yadam, and Frank Pierce. In 1993, it was renamed Chaos Studios. In 1994, Chaos Studios was acquired by Davidson Associates and renamed Blizzard Entertainment. Aaron leaned back in his chair. So that's how it was. Isn't this the dawn of opportunity? So, this Blizzard Entertainment is still a small startup, S3 Beckett nodded. Blizzard Entertainment's previous business was porting some games from other developers to computer platforms like Windows and Mac OS. Later, it developed original games for the Super Nintendo, but development was slow. Aaron smiled. Slowness didn't matter. What mattered was the potential. The year before last, Davidson Associates spent $6.75 million to acquire it. Announce this. Dawning is acquiring Blizzard Entertainment as its own gaming division. Davidson Associates, a struggling small company, offered no resistance to a giant like Dawning. Furthermore, Dawning had the success of Pixar, so why couldn't Blizzard Entertainment achieve the same success? Alright, Esther Beckett quickly left Aaron's office. Let Blizzard become the shining jewel of Dawning's gaming division. Aaron then glanced at a gold-stamped invitation on his desk. It was from DreamWorks. DreamWorks SKG was hosting a grand ball at the DreamWorks campus in Glendale, Los Angeles. The rise of DreamWorks Animation and Pixar had put considerable pressure on Disney, which had actually lowered its profile to produce a theatrical version of The Lion King, Simba's Pride. Disney traditionally avoided theatrical releases of animated sequels, only releasing them on video. The Lion King, Simba's Pride was Disney's first theatrical sequel to an animated feature film. Of the 3 founders of DreamWorks SKG, David Geffen, in charge of the music department, was of little importance. Of course, the renowned director Steven Spielberg was a man whose work no one dared to ignore. However, the truly crucial figure was Jeffrey Katzenberg, the true mastermind behind DreamWorks, a former Walt Disney Studios executive. Now, DreamWorks was establishing its own distribution network in North America, and negotiations with theater chains were personally conducted by Katzenberg. Without Katzenberg, DreamWorks would crumble in an instant. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 432 Hollywood Dream Factory. Glendale, Los Angeles, lies between Burbank and Hollywood, just outside the mouth of the Fernando Valley. DreamWorks headquarters campus borders Burbank, not far from Dawn's headquarters in Burbank. Several red buildings now stand within the newly completed DreamWorks headquarters campus. This time, a grand ball organized by Jeffrey Katzenberg, Steven Spielberg, David Geffen, and others invited numerous Hollywood celebrities. Also present were DreamWorks SKG investor Paul Allen and shareholders like Lee Mi-kyung, the head of South Korea's CJ Group. Aaron, with a glass of wine, sat in a corner of the banquet hall, chatting with Edgar Bronfman Jr. Aaron, since you acquired Universal, Dawn's performance has been even more astonishing. Dawn now holds over 30% of the Hollywood film market. Edgar Bronfman Jr. had ambitious plans after acquiring MGM and its film copyright library, but compared to Dawn, the gap was vast. Aaron smiled and said, "This year, The two blockbuster movies, Independence Day and Twister, came out at the same time. In the future, this situation will definitely be rare. Hollywood now has 7 major film studios, and now with DreamWorks, the competition is getting even more fierce. The US box office market is currently over $5 billion. Suzuki takes more, so naturally, other companies will have less. Aaron is now worried that the other film companies will unite to target Suzuki Global. After all, Suzuki has taken the biggest piece of the pie. Isn't MGM currently filming Tomorrow Never Dies? The previous film, Golden Eye, was a huge success both critically and financially. MGM's reboot of the 007 franchise is truly enviable. Edgar Bronfman Jr. smiled silently upon hearing Aaron Anderson's praise. The 007 franchise is indeed MGM's most important cash cow. However, some time ago, Albert Broccoli, the exclusive producer of the 007 series, finally passed away due to illness. Now, Ian Productions, Albert Broccoli's adopted son Michael Wilson and daughter Barbara Broccoli, have taken over. Ian Productions is the producer of the 007 series. After Michael Wilson and Barbara Broccoli took over the company, Tomorrow Never Dies was the first 007 film without Albert Broccoli's participation. Edgar Bronfman Jr. saw someone he knew. "Alright, Aaron, please excuse me. I'll be leaving for a moment." Aaron nodded and walked away. A moment later, Aaron ran into Michael Ovitz, the president of Disney, who was living a miserable life. Disney's film division was led by Chairman Joe Roth, assisted by David Vogel, president of production, and Dick Cook, president of distribution. Roy Disney and Peter Schneider oversaw Disney's animation division. With dedicated personnel overseeing the television division and the ABC broadcast network, Michael Ovitz was now limited to Hollywood Records, a subsidiary of Disney. CAA, having lost several of its founders, including Michael Ovitz, Ronald Mayer, and Bill Harbour, was also facing a crisis. Rivals like IMC and WMA wasted no time in poaching CAA's talent. Michael Ovitz, of course, saw Aaron Anderson's current rise to fame, and his heart was filled with emotion. A former CAA assistant agent had become a top Hollywood mogul, practically the richest man in California. "Hi, Tom." Aaron ran into Hollywood actor Tom Hanks, who was attending the ball. Michael Ovitz, a man who had lost his home, didn't have much time to waste. "Aaron, good evening." Tom Hanks had collaborated with Sue Guang on Sleepless in Seattle, The Philadelphia Story, and Forrest Gump, and with Universal on Apollo 13. "Your first film as a director, The Unstoppable Miracle, is about to be released, right?" Tom Hanks nodded. "It'll be screened at the Toronto Film Festival in Canada next month." Seeing Tom Hanks, Aaron felt a little sorry. After the success of Forrest Gump, the original author Winston Groom wrote a sequel, Forrest Gump 2, the following year. After all, Forrest Gump grossed $330 million in North America and $670 million worldwide. Its commercial success was undeniable. But Tom Hanks himself was adamant about a sequel. He refused to film any, making Forrest Gump 2 a non-starter. Tom Hanks wasn't Jim Carrey, so he could convince him otherwise. After chatting with Tom Hanks, Aaron went to Catherine Zeta-Jones. "There are so many important people here," said Catherine Zeta-Jones, who was attending as Aaron's female companion, looking a little nervous about the occasion. Aaron patted the girl on the waist. "Getting to know her better will do you good." "Yeah, I just had a chat with director Michael Mann." Michael Mann is also a renowned Hollywood screenwriter and director. Last year, he wrote and directed Heat, which was a commercial and critical success. Based on the true story of career criminal Neil McCauley, it stars Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, and Val Kilmer. Heat was released during the Christmas season at the end of last year and grossed $180 million worldwide. Empire magazine commented, "This flashy, high-tension film is a brilliant, stylish, violent and realistic study of Los Angeles made by director Michael Mann." The Los Angeles Times commented, "This sleek and accomplished work of Heat is carefully controlled and completely committed. The dark end of the street could not be more fascinating." The Hollywood Reporter commented, "The movie Heat is an epic and influential cat-and-mouse story, told with elegant style and starring two of the best male actors in American history. The success of Heat is to put excellent actors into an excellent script and let a visionary director take the lead, so that a great movie can be obtained." Aaron then hugged and kissed Catherine Zeta-Jones. "Michael Mann is very capable and has a lot of ideas in the field of thrillers and action films." Catherine Zeta-Jones responded, "For a while, I understand, But I still have to thank you. This opportunity is rare. Chapter 433, The New Landscape of Hollywood. August, the Venice Film Festival opened, signaling the start of Hollywood's autumn season. Dawn's Rush Hour and Romeo plus Juliet were among the films headed to the festival to promote their films. Universal's action blockbuster Face Off held a press conference at the Millennium Biltmore Hotel in Los Angeles. Director John Woo, accompanied by his two leading men, Nicolas Cage and John Travolta, attended the event. Broken Arrow's $70 million North American box office and $150 million worldwide gave Woo greater autonomy over the project. The $80 million budget was also a significant increase from Broken Arrow's $50 million budget. Besides Woo, another action director, Michael Bay, is even more formidable. After achieving fame with Bad Boys, Bay released The Rock this year to rave reviews. Its $130 million North American box office was even more impressive, with an additional $200 million in overseas markets, for a global total of $330 million. He also has Twister, Independence Day, and The Nutty Professor currently in theaters. Aaron's office in Burbank. James Cameron discovered during his inspection that the cutlery and other items on the cruise ship Titanic weren't the original White Star Line brand, so he had them all destroyed and reordered a new batch. Esther Beckett was reporting to Aaron on the filming progress of James Cameron's new film, Titanic. Aaron sighed. I guess another $1 million or $2 will be wasted. Did the producers at 20th Century Fox express any opinion? Esther Beckett smiled. Producer David Vogel and director James Cameron had a huge argument on set. He threatened the director that if anything went wrong with Titanic, he would jump into the sea. James Cameron also angrily stated that if things didn't go as he wanted, he would rather burn himself to death. Aaron shook his head. His reputation as a studio tyrant was indeed true. He forced the producer to jump into the sea? However, there was no other way. 20th Century Fox had invested a staggering $130 million in production costs for the film, not to mention the subsequent marketing expenses. Furthermore, Universal had invested $65 million in North American distribution rights, putting immense pressure on 20th Century Fox to recoup its investment. 20th Century Fox is relying on James Cameron to survive, she said. Action sci-fi films like the Terminator series and True Lies are incredibly popular. 20th Century Fox can't back down in order to maintain a long-term partnership with James Cameron. Esther Beckett knew her boss had always had his eye on James Cameron. She was certain that if 20th Century Fox dared to part ways with James Cameron, Dawn would be waving a check and signing a partnership agreement with him the next day. By the way, I heard that Steven Spielberg is going to help Paramount direct a war film called Saving Private Ryan. The investment must be high. Does Paramount have any ideas about cooperation? We at Shugwang have money. As soon as Aaron finished speaking, Esther Beckett pursed her lips. Boss, this is difficult, not to mention that Steven Spielberg is representing DreamWorks to cooperate with Paramount. Besides, it is rumored in Hollywood now that as long as it is a work that you, the boss, like, no one will be willing to give up the distribution rights. Paramount chairman Sherry Lansing and Warner Brothers Bob Daly both said in front of reporters that if Shugwang actively seeks cooperation, it means that the film will definitely be a big hit and can be directly greenlit. Aaron leaned back in his chair and said disdainfully, they also have to find someone to share the risk. Can independent investors and external funds make up for it? Hollywood's large film companies definitely like independent film investors and external funds the most, because in this way, Hollywood companies can keep the distribution rights, and they have the final say on the accounts and how to do things. Major Hollywood studios don't really collaborate much, because at this level, they're all Hollywood distributors, so who's willing to just be a film investor? After the 1990s, the international market rose to rival the North American market, and Hollywood placed increasing emphasis on it, leading to the emergence of collaborations among major Hollywood distributors. Paramount is a prime example, partnering with a distributor of the same caliber, sharing the risk and keeping North American and international distribution separate. After all, as studios of the same caliber, their production capabilities are undeniable. Forget it, since Steven Spielberg represents DreamWorks, then the North American distribution of Saving Private Ryan will remain with DreamWorks. Besides, Aaron must have been aware of the exhibition contracts DreamWorks SKG has signed with various theater chains over the past 2 years. After all, Shugwang already owns Angel Cinemas, America's premier multi-screen cinema chain, and also controls Landmark Cinemas. Add to that the 40% stake in Odeon Cinemas acquired after acquiring Universal, and Su Guang's global distribution network is formidable. Universal had the confidence to immediately withdraw from its partnership with Paramount's United International Pictures, UIP. The world's three largest box office markets are North America, Western Europe, and East Asia. Of course, Europe also includes Central and Southern European countries like Germany, Italy, and Spain. The rest, however, are insignificant. Latin America only has Brazil and Mexico. After all, North America's box office market doesn't include Mexico. However, DreamWorks faces numerous challenges in its development. Which Hollywood distribution company doesn't own a theater chain? Independent Hollywood distributors were themselves founded by theater chains, and major distributors have also invested in numerous theater chains. Sony's Columbia TriStar controls Los Cinemas, Paramount owns National Amusements, and MGM owns United Artists. It's easy to imagine how difficult it would be for DreamWorks to rise above the siege of the 7 major Hollywood distributors, especially since it was founded by a few sophisticated egoists. Aaron founded Dawning Studios early on, starting with the acquisition of the landmark Art Cinema and continuously releasing hits to enhance its influence. Dawning Studios is Aaron's, but is DreamWorks owned by Jeffrey Katzenberg, David Fincher, and Steven Spielberg? Clearly not, as each of them has their own selfish agenda. Even MGM, acquired by Seagram, felt the pressure, let alone a newly established DreamWorks. Chapter 434 Mexico's #1 Sexy Beauty. Los Angeles, Hollywood, Universal Studios Studio 5, the set of Air Force One. The interior of Air Force One was built in Studio 5. Aaron asked, "Is filming on Air Force One almost finished?" His assistant, Esther Beckett, nodded. "Yes, about 2 weeks left. All that's left is post-production." That evening, Aaron drove to Santa Monica Beach to meet Salma Hayek, whom he hadn't seen in a while. The voluptuous Mexican actress, with her impressive 30-60 figure, wore a white shirt, her black bra barely visible. That scene where you danced with a snake in From Dusk Till Dawn was so alluring. On a beach, Aaron embraced the voluptuous Salma Hayek, feeling the heat. "Really? If you like, I can definitely do it with you alone." Salma Hayek smiled and kissed Aaron on the lips. From Dusk Till Dawn is a quirky horror film written by Quentin Tarantino and directed by Robert Rodriguez. It stars George Clooney, the actor who rose to fame with ER, and Quentin Tarantino. Salma Hayek previously collaborated with director Robert Rodriguez on the Killing trilogy and several other films. Quentin Tarantino, who admired Rodriguez's style, introduced him to Twilight Pictures and signed a collaboration agreement. "There's a chance, isn't there?" Aaron asked. Although they didn't spend much time together, she was not emotionally valuable to Aaron and was quite obedient. When Twilight went public, Salma Hayek, like Elizabeth Hurley, received 200,000 shares of Twilight stock. At the current stock price, those 200,000 shares are worth over $10 million. "Of course, anytime, you can come to me whenever you need me." Salma Hayek, with her shirt wide open, leaned in Aaron's arms, allowing the man to feel her 30-60. "You just said that you have been to the set of Titanic." "Yes, it's in Rosarito, a coastal city in Baja California, Mexico, more than half an hour's drive from the U.S. border." Rosarito also solved a lot of employment problems because of the filming of Titanic. At night, in the bedroom of the Casa del Mar Hotel in Santa Monica, Salma Hayek lay on Aaron and panted, "In the past few years, my development path has become clearer and clearer. I want to thank you for your advice." Aaron rubbed the girl. "Well, now you are the representative of Latin American style, the sexiest beauty in Mexico." Salma Hayek smiled and kissed Aaron on the face. "The most beautiful woman in Mexico." Aaron nodded and stroked the girl's black hair. "Of course, how many women can compare with your proud figure?" Salma Hayek is less than 160 centimeters, petite, but has 30-60, as plump as Monica Bellucci. Salma Hayek rubbed Aaron's chest a few times, nuzzling him, and then snuggled into the covers. Soon after, Su Guang's action comedy Rush Hour premiered at Universal City in Los Angeles, with the film's entire creative team in attendance. A week later, Rush Hour began its large-scale release in North America. It lived up to expectations, grossing $30 million in its first 3 days and receiving widespread acclaim. Rush Hour marked the first time a Chinese actor played a leading role in a Hollywood commercial film, portraying a positive image. Jack Chang's performance in the film was highly praised by audiences and the media. Since breaking into the mainstream American market with Rumble in the Bronx, his fame in Hollywood has skyrocketed with the release of Rush Hour. Aaron sat on the sofa at the Peninsula Hotel in Beverly Hills, his arm around Wang Xiuxin. According to predictions, Rush Hour will break $100 million at the North American box office. Jack Cheng and Will Smith fame is skyrocketing, Wang Xiuxin said excitedly. No wonder you were so optimistic about Jack Cheng before. Look at the performance of Rush Hour. He's truly been embraced by mainstream American audiences. In Rush Hour, Jack Cheng's comedic antics and Will Smith's American humor blend seamlessly, winning over audiences. Next, the crew will be traveling to Europe and Japan for promotion. I'm focusing on Asia, and Hong Kong will be opening soon, Aaron nodded. With Rush Hour, Jack Cheng has definitely made a name for himself in Hollywood. As for Will Smith, although he didn't star in Independence Day, the success of Rush Hour has skyrocketed his value. Furthermore, Will Smith starred in another film, Men in Black, which will be released next year. Now, Jack Cheng is undoubtedly the top Chinese-speaking actor in Hollywood. Wang Xiuxin couldn't help but sigh. It's obvious that as Rush Hour continues to be released, Jack Cheng will soon become a top-tier Hollywood actor. Add to that his unshakable position in Asia, and his title as a global superstar is undeniable. Jack Cheng's box office appeal in Japan and Southeast Asia is unmatched by few Hollywood stars. If he can conquer the North American market, he will be an international superstar. Wang Xiuxin took the initiative, wrapping her arms around Aaron's neck and kissing him, their lips and tongues entwined. Aaron responded enthusiastically, reaching out to touch the girl's thigh and caressing it. Right now, the situation in Hong Kong is becoming increasingly volatile, and the number of immigrants is increasing. After the kiss, Wang Xiuxin discussed the situation in Hong Kong. Aaron kissed the girl on the cheek. It was normal on the eve of 1997, however, Aaron was more concerned about the 1997 Asian financial crisis. Asia's economic development had been rapid in recent years, and it was time for the United States to reap the benefits. Tomorrow, I'm going to San Francisco with a crew to promote the show. Rush Hour was primarily filmed in Los Angeles Chinatown. As a Chinese, Jack Cheng certainly had to promote the show in Chinatown, home to the largest Chinese community on the West Coast. Mind your own business first. Your participation in Rush Hour will also help boost your profile. As for the rest, I'll definitely be in Hong Kong. I'll talk to you then. Quickly, Aaron pushed Wang Xiuxin onto the bed. Yes, Wang Xiuxin cooperated, removing their clothes and hugging the man tightly. The room quickly became a scene of enchanting beauty. Chapter 435 The Rise of Leo. The release of Rush Hour was a blockbuster hit for the fall box office, grossing $80 million in North America in just 3 weeks. Another romantic film, Romeo plus Juliet, written and directed by Australian director Baz Luhrmann and starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes, also hit theaters. Its 3-day opening weekend grossed $11 million, a modest $11 million, but received positive reviews. Leonardo DiCaprio's new movie is really good. Aaron soaked in a bath at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, embracing Sophie Marceau. Since Face Off was filming at the soon-to-be-demolished Sands Hotel, Aaron couldn't miss a dramatic scene like a plane crashing into the hotel. So, he brought Sophie Marceau, who was taking a break, to Las Vegas with him. Oh, is that the young actress starring in James Cameron's new film? Sophie Marceau inquired, leaning into Aaron's arms. Yes, it's him. The filming process of Titanic was not smooth. James Cameron has a hot temper, which put a lot of pressure on 20th Century Fox. Didn't Su Guang also participate in the investment? Don't you have any pressure? Aaron smiled casually and stroked the girl's chest. 20th Century Fox is the majority investor, and we are only the second investor. Besides, can 20th Century Fox's performance in recent years be compared with Su Guang's? Su Guang's market value is now higher than News Corporation. Rupert Murdoch's News Corporation has a high debt. How can it be compared with herself? Sophie Marceau nodded. Romeo and Juliet is a very good movie. The performance of the young actor Leonardo DiCaprio in it is worthy of recognition. Romeo and Juliet is an adaptation of Shakespeare's works. Sophie Marceau has always been very interested in adaptations of famous works. After all, she doesn't like purely commercial film works very much. Currently, amid the craze for remaking Shakespeare's masterpieces, some creators are trying to find a new way, attempting to find a middle ground between the modern and the classical. Australian director Baz Luhrmann is one of them. His Romeo and Juliet is a work that uses the framework of a classical story to show the love life of modern urban youth. The New York Times, this film has become a typical modern youth idol film. Claire Danes makes Juliet have the independent and resolute spirit of a modern woman. Leonardo DiCaprio injects Romeo with the uninhibited and sensitive temperament unique to modern teenage boys. The Los Angeles Times, this version of Romeo and Juliet is a cleverly woven story, beautifully produced, and with outstanding performances by the actors. It is definitely a successful adaptation of Shakespeare. The Houston Post, the director further strengthens the connection between love at first sight and the appearance of the characters in the film through the audience's appreciation and identification with the stars in Romeo and Juliet. The excellence of the film's male and female protagonists Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes is unquestionable, the Chicago Tribune commented. Baz Luhrmann's version is imbued with a postmodernist music video style, even featuring passionate performances. Music often replaces the fratricidal violence, and Romeo is portrayed as a melancholic Elizabethan bard. Thus, violence and the tragic power are weakened, but the various collage and flattening styles of postmodern art are a feast for the eyes. Leonardo DiCaprio is still relatively unknown, but the acclaim of Romeo and Juliet will increase his profile and provide better publicity for the release of Titanic. Clearly, Romeo and Juliet has indeed brought the young actor Leonardo DiCaprio even more attention. By the way, which comedy are you filming in France next? Aaron kissed Sophie Marceau, still a little surprised. Sophie Marceau nodded. She was returning to France at the end of the year to film The Mistress of Louis XIV, a classic French comedy. Working with some theater actors is a bit of a training exercise for me. Sophie Marceau's current Hollywood filmography is primarily romances and action dramas, with her primary credit being North America. She herself feels she doesn't have many opportunities to shine in films these days, lacking deep, meaningful roles. Aaron smiled and passionately kissed the woman on the lips. Well, Sophie Marceau responded for a while, lying on Aaron. Is there any literary film script that explores people's hearts and requires acting skills? You know, I don't care about the pay at all. Aaron hugged Sophie Marceau in his arms. I know what you mean. You want that kind of acting role, right? You don't like roles that are too commercial now. Sophie Marceau nodded. Most of the female roles nowadays are romance, and action movies and dramas are just supporting roles. Aaron thought for a while. It seems that Xu Guang received a romance script some time ago, called City of Angels. The script tells the story of an angel who has all the magical powers that an angel should have, and can also live forever. His mission is to wander around the hospital every day and take the dead to another world, but one day, the angel fell in love with a doctor in the hospital. In order to be with his beloved, he asked God to give up his identity as an angel and become a real mortal who would be hungry, feel pain, and cry. For love, he would rather trade billions of years of eternal life in heaven for a short but sweet life on earth. However, the angel did not understand that, in addition to touching love, there is also a teasing fate waiting for them. Aaron looked at Sophie Marceau. Although this script is also a romance, it has a certain depth, and Dawn is planning to develop it. It's just that the script is still being revised. It is estimated that it will be filmed next year and should be released the year after. Do you want to play the leading role? Sophie Marceau nodded. It sounds good. There must be no big problem with this script you like. After I go back to France to film Louis Ziv's Mistress, I will come back to the United States to prepare. Sophie Marceau would certainly accept it if it was a romance like 4 Weddings and a Funeral. Aaron shrugged. Of course. After all, the project is still in the early stages of preparation. I guess filming will start in the second half of next year. Chapter 436 American Agent. It's no secret that Sands Group is planning to build the world's largest resort, the Venetian, in Paradise City, Las Vegas, integrating hotels, gaming, leisure, retail, dining, and convention centers. The $1.5 billion Venetian is located on Las Vegas Boulevard in Paradise, on the side of the former Sands Hotel. In a hotel bedroom, Sophie Marceau lay on top of Aaron, feeling his chest muscles. This Hong Kong director really loves live action, huh? Sophie Marceau and Aaron spent several days on the set of Face Off. The scene where the plane overran the runway and crashed into the hotel was filmed with a wrecked aircraft towed by a tow truck. Aaron smiled and said, our producer suggested we use a green screen, but the director really wanted that real feel. The success of Broken Arrow brought John Woo recognition from the mainstream American film industry, allowing Face Off to incorporate more of his signature style. Sophie Marceau nodded. You're not investing in the Venetian just for this movie, are you? Aaron reached out and stroked Sophie Marceau's long chestnut hair. How could that be? It's not hard for Sheldon Adelson to raise his own funds. I have some spare cash anyway, so investing in a Las Vegas casino hotel is no problem. Besides, Aaron was confident in a comprehensive casino hotel like the Venetian. A business with ready access to tons of cash was a boon. Simply themed resorts like the MGM, the Dream, and the Luxor certainly couldn't match the Venetian's appeal. "Alright," Sophie Marceau said, hugging the man and kissing him. Aaron rolled over, landing on top of the woman. The sensual and beautiful French kiss never disappoints a man, exuding a rich, alluring quality. Sophie Marceau exclaimed, pinching the man's waist. "Hasn't this time in Las Vegas been enough for you?" Aaron smiled, luxuriating in the woman's softness. He leaned in and whispered, "Nothing is enough. You're so captivating. This trip to Las Vegas is like a vacation with you." "Well, since I came to Hollywood, I've been getting busier and busier," Sophie Marceau said, closing her eyes. After Sophie Marceau returned to France, Aaron also left Las Vegas. Before leaving, he made a point of meeting with Sheldon Adelson. After leaving Las Vegas, Aaron went to Houston because the 1996-1997 NBA season had begun. That summer, Houston had undergone a major overhaul, with star player Hakeem Olajuwon traded. The team now had players like Shaquille O'Neal, Charles Barkley, and Kevin Johnson. Afterward, Aaron visited the Angels training facility. After several years of development, Angel International now owns 5,000 acres of land in Texas and employs over 700 people. They also have offices in Los Angeles, California, Arlington, Virginia, as well as in Africa and the Middle East. "Jack, you guys seem to be expanding your business now." Aaron stood by the window in the Angel International office, overlooking the various training facilities in the distance. Jack Wells smiled. "Some people who have returned from the battlefield find it difficult to live a normal life. Plus, going to troubled areas offers high salaries, much more than security guards, so there are always people who want to earn more. For those who work as mercenaries in places like Africa and the Middle East, while the situation is dangerous, they certainly earn more than bodyguards back home." "That's right," Aaron nodded. Jack Wells's words made sense. By the time Aaron returned to Los Angeles, it was Halloween. Independence Day has grossed over $300 million in North America, with a global total of $800 million. Twister has grossed $240 million in North America and $500 million worldwide. The Rock has grossed $130 million in North America and $330 million worldwide. The Nutty Professor has grossed $120 million in North America and $270 million worldwide. Suzuki has practically dominated the North American box office charts this year. Including the spring release of Ace Ventura: The Lost Ark, 5 Suzuki films have grossed over $100 million in North America this year. Aaron was in his office at Suzuki headquarters in Burbank. Mission Impossible, starring Tom Cruise, grossed $180 million in North America and $450 million worldwide. American spy films seem to be even more popular than James Bond. Perhaps it's time to explore the adaptation rights to The Bourne Identity, The Bourne Supremacy, and The Bourne Ultimatum trilogy we own, Dawn Steele suggested to Aaron. Aaron nodded. Writer Robert Ludlum's Bourne trilogy, although the previous TV adaptation wasn't very well received, he said. But we could definitely put more effort into the film adaptation and have someone start preparing it. Besides, the Bourne trilogy is all about the CIA, and everyone knows the CIA's poor reputation. If the Bourne trilogy is adapted well, it will surely receive strong support from the CIA. After Dawn Steele left, Aaron leaned back in his chair. The Bourne trilogy wasn't very easy to adapt. The TV series hadn't received much of a response after it aired, which wasn't a good idea for a film adaptation. However, Aaron wasn't in a rush. The Bourne trilogy could be adapted slowly, and there wasn't much urgency for Shugwang. Universal released Happy Gilmore, a low-budget sports comedy starring Adam Sandler. The film tells the story of hockey enthusiast Gilmore, who, after being kicked off his team due to his violent tendencies, unexpectedly discovers his golfing talent, leading him to compete in the Masters, a tournament with a lucrative prize. A low-budget film like Happy Gilmore wouldn't have garnered much attention from Aaron, but the fact that it stars Adam Sandler did. After all, last year's comedy The Kid Who Came In starring Adam Sandler received considerable acclaim. Universal produced The Kid Who Came In with a $10 million budget and a box office of $25 million, earning positive reviews. This year's Happy Gilmore was budgeted at $12 million. While Adam Sandler may not be the next Jim Carrey, his acting range is much wider than his. Chapter 437 The Abandoned. While 1996 was a dazzling year for Dwan, it was a tough year for other companies, such as Disney. Mid-year, Disney poached television executive Jamie Tussers from NBC, sparking controversy and continuing a pay dispute with Jeffrey Katzenberg. Furthermore, Michael Eisner finally decided to fire CEO Michael Ovitz. Disney's top executives understood that Ovitz's days were numbered. He had few friends or supporters at Disney, and no one was willing to risk offending Eisner by defending him. In November, Disney's Touchstone Pictures released Ransom in 2,676 theaters across North America, grossing $34 million in its first 3 days. Directed by Ron Howard and starring Mel Gibson, the crime thriller, a remake of the 1950s film of the same name, received rave reviews. After all, Ron Howard gave up Universal's project, The Gas Chamber, to direct this film. Ransom tells the story of a billionaire airline owner who lives in a luxury apartment near New York's Central Park. One day, he takes his son to a science exhibition in the park, where he is kidnapped and held to ransom. The couple is determined to save their child at all costs. The San Francisco Chronicle commented, "This is a unique kidnapping film, with some surprises, but overall, it's a good story." In Michael Ovitz's office at Disney headquarters in Burbank, Ransom is Disney's most successful film of the year. Universal's Rush Hour, after just a month and a half, has already grossed over $100 million in North America. Aaron Anderson is such a pain in the ass. Michael Ovitz is currently experiencing a difficult time at Disney, distressed by Michael Eisner's distrust and alienation. Michael Eisner had been trying to persuade Michael Ovitz to Sony, but the relationship didn't seem to click. Furthermore, Michael Ovitz still held on to his faith in Disney, believing that Michael Eisner could turn the situation around, that if he offered a few words of support to the board and the media, things would improve. However, Michael Ovitz had repeatedly pleaded with Michael Eisner to intervene, but he had always refused. Just as Michael Ovitz was considering whether to reconcile with Jeffrey Katzenberg, Michael Eisner's assistant, Twack, suddenly arrived at Michael Ovitz's office. Mr. Michael Ovitz, at the recent board meeting, you were fired by Disney. What? I was fired. Michael Ovitz, taken aback, stood up, his face flushed. I'm going to see Michael Eisner. I want to hear him say this in person. Calm down. This is the board's decision. Michael Eisner's assistant relayed the news and left. A dejected Michael Ovitz was left alone in the office. He felt utterly dejected, filled with hurt, anger, and a sense of betrayal from Michael Eisner. He couldn't believe Michael Eisner had been manipulating everything behind the scenes. Their friendship spanned over 30 years, and his joining Disney was largely facilitated by Michael Eisner. He had to confront Michael Eisner face to face. Late in the evening, Michael Ovitz arrived at Michael Eisner's office. Are you firing me? This is the board's decision. You're not suited to Disney. Sony might be a better fit for you. Sony again. No, I'm not going anywhere. Before I came here, you made all these promises. You couldn't fire me. You should have given me more time to integrate. I'm not giving up. Michael Ovitz was furious. Leaving Disney now would be a joke for all of Hollywood. My friend, you should calm down. Adults need to exercise restraint. Your departure from Disney is the board's decision, and no one can change it. Michael Eisner frowned at him. If Michael Ovitz could join Sony America as president, it would be both cost-effective and prestigious, but he simply wouldn't cooperate. Michael Ovitz's dismissal was a foregone conclusion. If he didn't join Sony America, Disney would have to pay him a substantial penalty, and it would also prove that recruiting him last year was a mistake. No, I won't leave. I'll chain myself to my desk. You're going to make me a laughingstock in Hollywood. Faced with Michael Eisner's unsympathetic dismissal announcement, Michael Ovitz was completely overcome with emotion. You're definitely leaving. The compensation committee will determine your salary, bonus, and compensation, Michael Eisner declared, then left his office, leaving Michael Ovitz alone. With the arrival of Thanksgiving, Disney announced a major news item. By mutual consent, Mr. Michael Ovitz had resigned as Disney's president. The former CAA chairman was ousted from Disney after just a year and a half, shocking Hollywood. Considering his former glory at CAA, he now shares the same fate as Jeffrey Katzenberg. Both Jeffrey Katzenberg and Michael Ovitz were abandoned by Michael Eisner. Now, Jeffrey Katzenberg, Having partnered with Steven Spielberg and David Geffen to found DreamWorks SKG, remains a resounding success. But for Michael Ovitz, could he still create another agency similar to CAA? At Los Angeles International Airport, Aaron met Cate Blanchett, who was arriving for the first time after wrapping up her filming for Highway to Heaven. "Aaron, you actually came to pick me up in person," Cate Blanchett, upon entering the car, hugged Aaron and kissed him. Aaron pulled Blanchett into his arms. "My woman, of course I came in person." Then, they began to kiss passionately. After a while, Aaron pulled his hand out of the girl's arms and said, "Okay, let's go back first." "Yes," Cate Blanchett nodded. Then Aaron drove Cate Blanchett directly to a seaside villa on Malibu Colonial Boulevard. Chapter 438 Our Film Goddess. "Interesting. Michael Ovitz has taken a major tumble this time," Aaron said, sitting on the sofa in his Malibu beachfront villa, flipping through the newspaper. It showed the news of Michael Ovitz's departure from Disney, along with Michael Eisner's statement. "I will miss Michael's tremendous energy, immense creativity, and exceptional leadership at Disney. We worked together, we were friends for many years, and our relationship, both personal and professional, will continue to grow." Michael Ovitz had only been at Disney for a year and a half, and while he received a substantial severance pay, it was a significant blow to his career. It's fair to say Michael Eisner's lust for power was truly immense. Michael Ovitz must have been capable, otherwise he wouldn't have built CAA into Hollywood's premier agency. "What are you looking at?" Cate Blanchett came over and sat in Aaron's arms. "Just some Hollywood news." Aaron put down the newspaper, hugged the woman in his arms and kissed her. "How was it? How was filming over there?" Cate Blanchett smiled. "I only had a supporting role in Highway to Heaven, but I learned a lot from the lead actress, Glenn Close, and other actors on the set. I was on the same plane with Glenn Close this time when I came to the US. Glenn Close is a veteran American actress. She also played a role in this year's Air Force One and will play the lead in the live-action adaptation of 101 Dalmatians, a Disney animated film, due out at the end of the month. She's probably back in the US to promote the film." Veteran actors with a background in the theater industry do have a lot to learn from them. For actors, theater is a great way to hone their fundamental skills, from dialogue to expression to movement. Cate Blanchett graduated from drama school and has since performed at the Sydney Opera House, a true art house actress. Aaron leaned close to the other's neck and rubbed the thigh of the girl in his arms. "Crescent Pictures has a new film to be released. We can recommend you to go in for training first. You should also consider commercial films in the future." Cate Blanchett squinted her eyes, rubbed against Aaron's body, and smiled. "My agent has taken on a new script for me. It's a British-Australian co-production, invested by Fox Searchlight. It is based on the 1988 Booker Prize-winning novel by Australian novelist Peter Carey. It's called Oscar and Lucinda, and the leading actor is British actor Ralph Fiennes. I guess it won't be long before I join the crew." Invested by Fox Searchlight, it must be an art film. Ralph Fiennes has The English Patient to be released next month. The preview held by Crescent Pictures was very good. After all, it was Xu Guang's masterpiece that he used to compete for awards. "Okay, get some rest for a few days. Los Angeles is nice too. Enjoy the West Coast for a few days." Aaron hugged Cate Blanchett and gave her a kiss. He was going to the office. With such a big thing happening at Disney, things in Hollywood were definitely not going to be so calm. Michael Eisner's dismissal of Michael Ovitz, after just over a year at the company, was met with confusion not only by many outsiders but also by many within Disney. Someone at Disney's level couldn't be fired simply by a mere statement. The severance pay was a significant burden. The price Disney would have to pay to get Michael Ovitz to leave was undoubtedly high. In Glendale, DreamWorks headquarters, two bald men sat across from each other in an office, drinking champagne. They were none other than the two founders, Jeffrey Katzenberg and David Geffen. Haha, see, Michael Eisner won't allow anyone at Disney to compromise his position. Michael Ovitz's dismissal is not unexpected at all. Jeffrey Katzenberg was only too happy to see Disney embarrass itself. Bad news for Disney was good news for him. David Geffen chuckled, "You're current't in a lawsuit over compensation with Disney." Michael Eisner didn't specify how much Disney would have to pay for firing Michael Ovitz. Now that the two sides are at loggerheads, Michael Ovitz won't give in easily. Disney is definitely going to pay a heavy price this time. How the two sides will spar next depends on the outcome. After all, Michael Ovitz's severance pay is a major concern. There's been much media speculation about Michael Ovitz's severance pay, potentially in the hundreds of millions of dollars in cash and stock. Jeffrey Katzenberg shrugged. These aren't enough to shake Michael Eisner's position. Euro Disneyland Paris is losing money, and Michael Eisner orchestrated the sale of a significant portion of Euro Disneyland's shares, allowing the parent company to write off a significant portion of its debt. Last year, Euro Disneyland's financial statements showed a profit. This, coupled with this incident, will only diminish Michael Eisner's prestige within Disney, but won't shake his position. The reason was simple. Michael Eisner had led Disney for over a decade, successfully operating Disneyland in California and Disneyland in Florida, cementing the Disney brand and driving its stock price many times over. Such a mistake wouldn't bring him down. At most, it might just irritate him. Especially since Michael Eisner held such a dominant voice on the Disney board, and majority shareholder Sid Bass had the unconditional support of him. David Geffen thought for a moment. From what I know about him, Michael Eisner will definitely get President Michael Ovitz's departure as quickly as possible. Also, I don't think Michael Eisner will appoint another president in the future. He doesn't want to decentralize power at all, unless he gets another puppet like Frank Wells who completely follows his lead. Of course, the most important thing is to convince Michael Eisner himself that the new president will not pose a threat to his position and will not affect his rights in Disney. Jeffrey Katzenberg laughed. Disney's crisis will become more and more serious. In the film industry, with the existence of a powerful company like Dawn, they have no advantage in the competition. In terms of television, ABC's highest-rated drama this year is still The Big Short, produced by DreamWorks. In the film industry, the gap in Hollywood today has been widened by Dawn. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 439, A Great Sacrifice. Michael Ovitz's departure stirred a storm in Hollywood well into December, with newspapers blazing with speculation about the cause. The New York Post, the National Enquirer, and others speculated that some of Ovitz's colleagues at Disney, who had previously viewed him as a struggling CEO, now viewed him as a disposable pawn of Michael Eisner. These reports infuriated Michael Eisner, who clearly believed they were fabricated by Ovitz himself to secure a larger severance pay package. To thwart Michael Ovitz, Michael Eisner launched a counterattack, preparing to give an interview to Fortune magazine. Meanwhile, an internal Disney email from Michael Eisner was accidentally leaked and published by Fortune. In it, Michael Eisner explained two key aspects of Michael Ovitz that no one understood. First, Michael Ovitz was a psychopath with character flaws, cunning, untrustworthy, and self-absorbed. All his problems began and ended with character flaws. Second, Michael Ovitz is completely incompetent, and no one can change these two things. Let's wait and see. Meanwhile, Universal Studios Hollywood's Waterworld attraction officially opened just before Christmas. Based on the film Waterworld, this immersive water show features Hollywood-grade live-action stunts. Set against a backdrop of a flooded Earth and humanity surviving on artificial atolls, Waterworld presents a battle between good and evil. The show includes over 50 stunts, including high-speed jet ski dives, high-altitude explosions, and airplane crashes. Actors perform high-stakes maneuvers and realistic explosions to create intense combat sequences. Each Waterworld show lasts about half an hour and is scheduled daily based on attendance. It has been incredibly popular since its opening. And because it falls in December, Universal Studios also features a massive fireworks display every evening, attracting large crowds of visitors. The English Patient, produced by Crescent Films under Dawn Films, started with a small-scale release, mainly in the hope of making an Oscar bid, but once The English Patient was released, its good reputation won the film a reputation. Premiere Magazine, it's visually epic, but the moving story is the most unforgettable part of this great film. A glance here, a gesture there, an outpouring of emotion that lingers. That's why, when it ends, the audience loses themselves, like the patient, in a world of memories and regrets, yet also a faint hope. The New York Times, the film's triumph lies not only in the strength and range of the performances, but also in the way Minghella creates an intimate epic, encompassing vast landscapes interwoven with minute details of desire, a combination that is breathtaking. Empire. Every scene in The English Patient is breathtakingly beautiful, especially the bird's-eye views, which are truly breathtaking, and these images will truly stand the test of cinematic time. With each viewing, more detail, more emotion is evident, and the character's true feelings emerge. Rolling Stone, the film operates like a sad and complex melodrama, with characters intermittently indulging in dramatic outbursts and a plot that twists and turns. The plot can feel a bit bland at times, qualities that are out of place in modern cinema. Far more thrilling than today's hyper-action, concise war dramas and love stories, The English Patient feels like a relic of a more fervent era. Arthouse films typically have limited releases, relying on word of mouth to extend their runtime and expand their screens. The English Patient has received positive reviews, and Crescent Pictures hopes it will win an Oscar, which would further boost the film's commercial revenue. At a ball at the Beverly Hills Hotel, Aaron ran into Bruce Willis and Demi Moore. What caught his eye was that both were sporting shaved heads. Demi Moore had recently finished the action drama GIC, playing a U.S. Marine in an elite unit, and shaved her head for the role. Universal also has a sci-fi thriller, 12 Monkeys, starring Bruce Wesley, coming out this month for Christmas. An art film for an action superstar, Bruce. This time the audience can seriously appreciate your acting skills and charm. Bruce Willis smiled. We can't always be about fighting and killing. Schwarzenegger and Stallone also have comedies, although Stallone's comedies are a mess. His best destination is still action movies. Recently, Bruce Willis and Demi Moore, together with stars such as Schwarzenegger and Stallone, invested in the Planet of the Gods restaurant chain. Now they are business partners, and they are not ambiguous when it comes to joking. Demi Moore, standing nearby, smiled and said, "Let's not bother Aaron. Look at the passionate looks from the young women around you." Aaron, looking back at Demi Moore, smiled and replied, "You've made a lot of sacrifices just to make a movie. I can't help it. I really like the female soldier role in it, so having long hair is no problem." Demi Moore had become Hollywood's highest-paid actress with this summer's film Striptease. Unfortunately, Striptease was a critical flop, grossing $33 million in North America and $110 million worldwide. Last year, Carlock's film of the same theme, Showgirls, flopped dismally, winning the 1995 Golden Raspberry Award for Worst Picture. This year's Striptease is even worse than that. With last year's The Scarlet Letter, this year's Striptease, and next year's G.I., 3 consecutive films have failed, a significant blow to her career. After chatting with the two for a few more words, Aaron walked away. A young and beautiful figure soon came to Aaron's side. "What a coincidence, Aaron." "It's quite a coincidence. It's you, Liv. You are getting more and more beautiful and sexy." Aaron hugged Liv Tyler, who was walking over, and whispered in the girl's ear, "The movie Stealing Beauty that you starred in this year was quite memorable. You were so charming and seductive in the movie." Although Liv Tyler's contribution in Stealing Beauty was a bit heavy, her performance did receive a lot of praise. Liv Tyler smiled and deliberately rubbed against Aaron's body. "Really? Didn't you feel it before?" Chapter 440, Sneering. "Honey, you have a fantastic figure." In the bedroom of Bel Air Manor, Aaron sat on the bed with Liv Tyler in his arms, feeling the woman's voluptuous body. Liv Tyler breathed rapidly, caressing the back of Aaron's hand, her face flushed. Liv Tyler then turned and began to kiss Aaron passionately, their lips and tongues entwined in a voluptuous scene. Soon, the two of them lay flat on the bed, and Aaron reached out to grope the woman's breasts. "You haven't been short of scripts lately, have you?" Liv Tyler's voice rasped. "Yes, I've been filming a romance, The Secret of Love, and a thriller, U-Turn, this year. U-Turn, directed by Oliver Stone and starring Sean Penn and Jennifer Lopez, is a Western thriller with Hitchcockian suspense. The Secret of Love, a low-budget romance set in a small town in the 1950s, was a film Jennifer Connelly had turned down. "That's fine. Shu Guang will definitely cooperate with you when the time comes." Aaron was indeed not too worried about him. After all, her father was the lead singer of the band Aerosmith and had many connections in the entertainment industry. Liv Tyler enjoyed the man's touch. "By the way, if you want to win an Oscar, what should you do?" Aaron smiled, looked at Liv Tyler, and squeezed his palms. "You are not yet 20 years old, right? Is it necessary for a newcomer in Hollywood to think so far?" Liv Tyler pursed her lips. "I just want to ask." Aaron spoke directly. "First of all, you must have the qualifications. When has the Oscar Acting Award been awarded to a newcomer? Secondly, you have to get rid of the label of a vase. The Oscars are not very friendly to beautiful actors, whether male or female. After the first 2 points are achieved, the third point is to get a nomination, and finally come up with a good work and do active public relations." Since the other party asked, Aaron explained to her that Liv Tyler was basically a Hollywood vase. In Stealing Beauty, her performance mainly focused on the role itself, showing the youthful girlish feelings and sexy figure. Liv Tyler rolled over and lay on Aaron's chest, staring at the man under her with a pair of beautiful blue eyes. I know that my acting skills are still very immature now, and I'm just a vase, but being a vase can also perform, right? Aaron nodded. Of course, your main thing now is to accumulate acting experience, and just improve slowly. Liv Tyler smiled, leaned close to Aaron's ear and blew a breath. You are the boss of Hollywood on now, and you are very famous, but don't forget me. We can maintain this relationship forever. You also want to enjoy different happiness sometimes. With that, Liv Tyler crawled into the quilt. In Hollywood, after Disney fired Michael Ovitz, before Christmas, the severance pay of the other party was reported. Disney paid Michael Ovitz $140 million in liquidated damages as compensation. To outsiders, Michael Ovitz's $140 million compensation, despite a disastrous year as Disney's president, seemed incredible. But for Ovitz, who had given up his successful CAA, endured over a year of frustration and humiliation, and ultimately lost his reputation, the money was simply not worth it. As for some media outlets publicly suggesting that Michael Eisner should compensate Ovitz out of his own pocket, it was clearly a sign of distrust among Disney shareholders. At the same time as Michael Ovitz's compensation was revealed, Michael Eisner finalized a 10-year contract extension with Disney. While his base salary remained at $750,000, his bonus package was more generous, tied to earnings per share growth. Furthermore, this new contract made it difficult for the board of directors to fire Michael Eisner, as the cost of doing so was prohibitive. Because of a special provision in the contract, Michael Eisner has the right to terminate his contract for good cause if he loses his title as chairman or CEO. If Michael Eisner terminates his contract under these circumstances, he will be entitled to cash compensation equal to the current value of his salary and bonus, and his stock options will vest immediately. News of Michael Ovitz's compensation and Michael Eisner's new contract sparked a wave of fierce criticism. Some Disney shareholders, including passive institutional investors, have expressed strong dissatisfaction. The Committee of Institutional Investors hopes to lobby shareholders to urge them to reject Michael Eisner's new contract at Disney's annual meeting in February. However, Disney's board of directors is inherently unusual. Michael Eisner already controls the Disney executives he leads and serves on the board, and he also has good relationships with some independent directors who do not work at Disney. Therefore, Michael Eisner has been unfazed by the external criticism, even dismissing it with contempt. Ever since the helicopter accident death of President Frank Wells, the departure of Jeffrey Katzenberg, and the Michael Ovitz incident, Disney's top management has been embroiled in a relentless power struggle. While the acquisition of Cinema ABC strengthened Disney, it also intensified the competition it faces. Hollywood awards season is bustling, and Los Angeles is bustling with parties, but with Aaron's stature, who cares about an Oscar? Clinton's re-election promises a golden 4 years for Aaron. Clinton then nominated Maine Senator William Cohen to replace William Perry as Secretary of Defense. He also nominated Madeleine Albright, the U.S. UN representative, to replace Warren Christopher as Secretary of State, becoming the first female Secretary of State in U.S. history and, at the time, the highest position held by a woman in the U.S. government. At the Millennium Biltmore Hotel in downtown Los Angeles, Aaron and Leon Panetta sat on a sofa, sipping wine. Leon Panetta had stepped down as White House Chief of Staff, replaced by Deputy Chief of Staff Erskine Bowles. 2 more Jews have been added to the cabinet this time. Aaron smiled. It was indeed a Jewish cabinet. Leon Panetta took a sip of his wine. I will continue to work in the domestic public sector, mainly in the offshore oil and gas sector, Aaron nodded. The domestic economy is developing rapidly and unemployment is low, which has led to Clinton's extremely high reputation. The White House's voice is becoming more and more important. Chapter 441 This is Candy. After chatting with Leon Panetta, Aaron left the Biltmore Millennium Hotel and walked down Hollywood's Universal Plaza. With Christmas approaching, the street was filled with festive cheer, and Universal Studios' fireworks display would continue into the new year. Even in Los Angeles in December, the nights were a bit chilly. Walking down the plaza, Aaron Anderson tightened his coat. Suddenly, as he passed a street performer, Aaron stopped. A young, beautiful woman was singing Madonna's Latin pop hit Beautiful Island, and Aaron paused to admire her. The woman was full of youthful energy, with a pretty face and a voluptuous figure. Aaron recognized her instantly. Wasn't it Britney Spears? The future Britney Spears, performing on the street, perhaps not yet debuted? After the song ended, the woman waited for tips from the crowd. In the box before her lay scattered coins and bills. Aaron pulled out his wallet, pulled out a wad of $20 bills, and tossed them in. The stack was at least a dozen, more than the rest of the girl's belongings combined. The girl looked up at Aaron and smiled sweetly. "Thank you, sir." Aaron nodded and smiled back. "You sing very well. If possible, I'd like to learn more about you." He looked around and pointed to a nearby cafe. "I'll meet you there. When you're done, come find me." "Excuse me, sir, are you your agent?" "No, I'm from the record company." "Really?" The girl's face lit up with excitement. Aaron nodded. "Let's go over there. We can have some coffee and chat? It'll be a little warmer." "Yes, sure. I'll be quick," the girl said, quickly starting to pack. Aaron then headed straight to the nearby cafe and ordered something. A few minutes later, the girl walked in with a large guitar on her back. "Sir," Aaron asked her to sit down. "Have a drink first. The food will be here soon." "What's your name?" "I'm Britney Spears." Britney Spears looked at Aaron nervously, her eyes evasive, holding her coffee. Aaron Anderson was only 27 years old, young and handsome, but he had always held a high position and had an aura that was extremely lethal to a young girl like him. "Britney Spears, Aaron nodded. "Have you signed a contract with a record company?" "Not yet." Aaron smiled unconsciously, looking at the girl in front of him. "Well, tell me about yourself first." "I'm 16 years old and was born in a small town in the countryside of Kentwood, Louisiana. I've loved performing and singing since I was a child. I've appeared in Broadway plays and participated in Disney's The New Mickey Mouse Club program, recording 2 episodes. It turned out that she was a member of the Mickey Mouse Club. Now Britney Spears has not signed a contract with a record company. Isn't this an opportunity for Universal Music? With proper training, Britney Spears may be the next Madonna Ciccone. I'm from MCA Records. I'm optimistic about you and want to sign you." Britney Spears was excited. "Really? MCA Music Group is very famous. Although it has been changed to Universal Music Group, the MCA record label has been retained." "Of course. Talk to your parents when you get back, and I'll have someone contact you." Britney Spears hesitated, wanting to ask but not daring to. Aaron smiled. "Ask whatever you want. My people will contact you within 3 days at the latest." Britney Spears smiled. "I'm asking for your name, sir." "My name is Aaron. We'll have a chance to meet again after you sign with MCA, of course. You have to work hard too. Competition within Universal Music is fierce, and you still have a lot to learn. Otherwise, even if they sign you, if you don't work hard, the company can't do anything," Aaron said casually. Britney Spears was still young. With proper training, she could be a cash cow. "Don't worry, I'll definitely work hard, okay?" Just as Aaron met Britney Spears, the sci-fi thriller 12 Monkeys, starring Bruce Willis, opened in theaters. 12 Monkeys employs absurd and playful techniques, untangling seemingly complex and chaotic time and space through the protagonist's psychological processes, displaying a strong sense of magical realism and receiving widespread positive reviews. The Austin Chronicle commented, "Director Terry Gilliam may be the most gifted surrealist filmmaker since Luis Buñuel. While his latest film, 12 Monkeys, falls more into the realm of science fiction than film, it fully demonstrates his bizarre, unsettling, and utterly unique vision," Empire commented. With the help of cinematographer Roger Pratt and production designer Jeffrey B. Croft, director Terry Gilliam creates a terrifying world filled with clumsy metal contraptions designed to terrorize the humans who wield them. Terry Gilliam, perhaps better than any other filmmaker working today, blends exaggerated, playful anarchy with fervent obsession through his unique narrative talent, The Washington Post commented. 12 Monkeys tends to travel through time and space, as well as through internal and external landscapes, of course. In addition to positive reviews, 12 Monkeys has also received some criticism. Variety reported, as a visionary filmmaker, director Terry Gilliam is virtually unrivaled in terms of pure creativity and visual imagination. In each of his films, he uses magnificent production design to construct universes that astound the senses, but in the process, he neglects dramatic logic and narrative coherence, fundamentals that could make his stories more engaging and meaningful. As a result, Terry Gilliam's work is full of emotion but lacks rationality. Meanwhile, at Aaron's direction, MCA Records signed Britney Spears to a long-term contract after meeting her. Universal Music has offices in cities like Los Angeles, New York, and Orlando, and Britney Spears primarily developed at MCA Records in Los Angeles. Of course, Aaron wouldn't intervene in such trivial matters. The company has its own system for nurturing new talent. Perhaps, when Britney Spears releases her first single, Aaron will remember her again. Chapter 442 Joint Ownership. New York, Manhattan, Times Square. Just before Christmas, Universal officially moved from Rockefeller Center to the Dawn Center. Crescent Films, Twilight Films, Universal Music, AMC Cable, and Putman Publishing all moved into the same building. Of course, Aaron's Cheyenne A Fund and Christiana Yeri's Victoria's Secret Angels Agency also have offices at the Dawn Center. In his top-floor office at the Dawn Center, Aaron sat on the sofa, looking out the window at the Manhattan skyline. Microsoft split their stock again, 2 for 1, Aaron muttered to himself. After all, Microsoft's stock price had risen to $154 per share. Last year's Windows 95 operating system was truly a groundbreaking product. A short while later, Esther Beckett arrived at Aaron's office, excitedly announcing, "The numbers for Rush Hour are in, $140 million in North America, plus $100 million overseas, for a total of $240 million worldwide." Aaron smiled. Jack Chang and Will Smith are such an amazing pairing, with a production budget of $33 million, plus other marketing expenses. Rush Hour cost nearly $50 million. And now, it's grossed $240 million worldwide. How could that not be astonishing? Boss, Will Smith's Men in Black, which stars Will Smith, will definitely get even more attention next year. With Bad Boys for Life and Rush Hour, Will Smith has solidified his status as a black action comedy star. But Aaron knew that Will Smith wasn't just about action and comedy, he was also a strong voice in art films and dramas. How much did Disney's animated feature film The Hunchback of Notre Dame make? $100 million in North America, $320 million worldwide, Aaron nodded. Disney Animation spent $100 million to produce The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Pixar's currently developing A Bug's Life will probably cost around the same. Pixar's first film, Toy Story, cost only $35 million. Besides the current competition among animation studios, DreamWorks Animation's poaching of animators has significantly increased the cost of animation production. Actually, think about the current 7 major Hollywood studios. They already have enough, especially with Aaron Anderson at Universal, which has taken away a lot of market share from other studios. Now DreamWorks SKG has arrived, waving dollars to attract Hollywood's best film talent. Aaron sighed and put a script on the table. True Love, the film tells the story of a former black slave, living on a plantation with her daughter, Den, and a friend after the abolition of slavery. One day, the arrival of a strange girl triggers a series of bizarre events, evoking horrific memories of the heroine's past. Director Jonathan Demme's project, but it's about black people, and the main characters are all black. What a shame. Now, there's no market for such a script. I wonder what Jonathan Demme is thinking? Esther Beckett looked up. What does the boss mean? Aaron shook his head. He wants an $80 million budget. Director Jonathan Demme and Shu Guang had already collaborated on 3 successful films, The Silence of the Lambs, The Philadelphia Story, and Red Dragon. Aaron would definitely support him, even if it was a loss-making project, but $80 million for a suspenseful drama about black slavery was simply unacceptable. Let Jonathan Demme raise his own funds. If he can't find a distributor, Universal can distribute it for him. However, given Jonathan Demme's fame, if Universal doesn't support him, other distributors should be willing to support his filming. Understood. By the way, I've seen the adapted version of The Mummy's script. It's pretty good, so we can officially start preparing. Young actors like Brendan Fraser, Chris O'Donnell, and Matt Damon all meet our requirements. Let Kate Beckinsale play the leading lady. Brendan Fraser, Chris O'Donnell, and Matt Damon are all young Hollywood male stars who have become popular in the past 2 years. Kate Beckinsale has already gained considerable fame in the horror film field with Scream, and this new version of The Mummy is a science fiction blockbuster with a cost of $80 million, no longer the small-scale horror film that Universal used to produce. Esther Beckett nodded. And our new project, The Truman Show? Jim Carrey has signed a contract with us for $12 million. According to his party flag, filming can officially begin in the second half of next year. Aaron closed his eyes. In the second half of '97, let director Peter Weir know and have the crew ready by then. As for the actress for Truman, Aaron already had a choice, Cate Blanchett. Meanwhile, Panasonic had already launched its own DVD player last month. DVDs have obvious advantages. First, they offer excellent compatibility. They play not only DVDs but also common disc formats like CDs and VCDs, making it easy for users to play different types of discs and meet diverse needs. Second, they offer crystal clear image quality. Panasonic's DVD A100 player utilizes advanced video decoding technology, delivering images several times clearer than VCDs. This significantly increases horizontal resolution and creates a more immersive experience when watching movies and other video content. Finally, the sound quality is superior. It supports multiple audio encoding formats, enabling high-fidelity playback. The launch of the Panasonic DVD A100 accelerated the adoption of DVD technology and spurred the development of the DVD industry. Compared to VCDs, it offered significant advantages in both picture and sound quality, enough to change many people's viewing habits. It's believed that DVD adoption will soon continue to grow. Soon, new films like Dawn's Rush Hour and The Rock will release DVDs alongside their videotape and laserdisc releases. That evening, a charity dinner was held at the Pierre Hotel in Midtown Manhattan. Charles Dolan of CVC Group specifically asked Aaron about the NBA. Aaron smiled and said, "Running the NBA is simple. Leave the professional aspects to the professionals, and then, be willing to spend money." MSG Group, home to the New York Knicks, Madison Square Garden, is jointly owned by it and the Dolan family's CVC. Chapter 443, Tom's Glory. CVC plans to acquire its MSG shares. Charles Dolan made no secret of the fact that MSG's most important assets were the New York Knicks and their home arena, Madison Square Garden. Previously, both were operated by it, which is now undergoing restructuring and is expected to sell its MSG shares. It, once a diversified industrial conglomerate, had recently split into three independent companies: It Corporation, specializing in hotels and gaming; It Hartford, focusing on insurance; and It Industries, a diversified manufacturing conglomerate. Congratulations, Aaron wasn't concerned about CVC's ability to acquire the rest of MSG Group's shares, despite the group's considerable assets: the MSG Sports Cable Network, the MSG Arena in Manhattan, the NBA's New York Knicks, the NHL's New York Rangers, and so on. Aaron pondered, could it be that it, having failed in the pursuit of Michael Jordan, is no longer interested in running the company? The New York Knicks had offered Michael Jordan a $15 million annual salary plus $15 million in advertising from the Sheraton Hotels, but failed. After all, the Sheraton Hotels group is part of it. Charles Dolan shrugged. Perhaps that's why. Aaron smiled and said, but it's going to be hard for the New York Knicks to catch up with the Houston Rockets. Charles Dolan smiled and said nothing. Is running an NBA team all about results? After Aaron finished his conversation with Charles Dolan, he decided that discussing sports with the Dolan family was a waste of time and walked away. And then he ran into Tom Cruise. You starred in Jerry Maguire. What a great movie. Jerry Maguire, released in 10 days, has grossed $36 million. The film tells the story of sports agent Jerry Maguire, who, after being fired from an international sports management company, strikes out on his own with his former colleague Dorothy. They fall in love, marry, and Jerry's career takes a turn for the better. Thank you, Aaron. Jerry Maguire is produced by TriStar Pictures and distributed by Sony. This is Tom Cruise's contract with Sony Pictures Entertainment. Tom Cruise has been incredibly successful this year. The box office bomb of Mission Impossible catapulted the fledgling production company, Cruise Wagner Pictures, to fame. Apparently, Jerry Maguire wasn't produced by Cruise Wagner Pictures, much to Tom Cruise's regret. Furthermore, the story of Jerry Maguire, the protagonist of Jerry Maguire, is based on the real-life experiences of Agent Lee Steinberg. It can be considered a semi-biographical work. Jerry Maguire performed outstandingly at the box office and received rave reviews, being nominated for the Golden Globe Awards for Best Picture, Romance Comedy and Best Actor, Romance Comedy, etc. Los Angeles Times praised the delicate communication of facial expressions of the characters in the film. Washington Post, in the movie, Dorothy Boyd is not in Steele's film. Most of the emotional communication in the film is done through the actor's facial expressions. The role of Jerry Maguire in Jerry Maguire was originally designed for Tom Hanks, But because director Cameron Crowe spent many years writing the script, Tom Hanks was older than the setting for this role, and Tom Hanks himself did not like the script. Woody Harrelson originally got the role, but he thought no one would care about the profession of agent, so he turned it down. Which obviously became one of the regrets of his career. Lead actress Renee Zellweger wasn't a well-known actress before taking on the role of Dorothy. However, after successfully auditioning for the role, which included Winona Ryder, Bridget Fong, Marissa Tomei, and Patricia Arquette, she said she didn't need it. After a brief chat with Tom Cruise, she ran into Ethan and Joel Coen. The Coen brothers directed the critically acclaimed thriller Fargo, nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Picture, Drama, and were specifically in attendance to promote the classic film. They attended receptions, press conferences, and other promotional events. Fargo, a polygram film with a budget of just $7 million, grossed $60 million worldwide. The film tells the story of car dealer Jerry, facing financial hardship and unable to secure financial support from his father-in-law, who hires two kidnappers to abduct his wife in exchange for a ransom, leading to a series of murders. Fargo continues the Coen brothers' characteristic film noir theme of fate's dominance. Their characters are constantly controlled by desire, greedy yet ignorant, trapped by their circumstances and fate, unable to escape their fateful fate. This is the case with the protagonist of Fargo, who initially planned to hire kidnappers to abduct his wife in order to extort a ransom from his father-in-law. However, things gradually spiral out of control. The kidnappers accidentally kill a police officer and two witnesses, and fate spirals into a cycle of murder, even among themselves. This perfectly embodies the Coen brothers' consistent theme: the little man's presumption always invites the mockery of fate. Furthermore, the film Fargo also bears a very distinct Coen brothers' personal style. Its black humor is reflected in its nonchalant narrative tone, sometimes deliberately deviating from the main theme, even ignoring the core theme in order to describe some strange details. The Chicago Tribune, with its grotesque murders and interesting detective work, Fargo takes us to the far north and reveals the darkness hidden beneath the white world. The San Francisco Chronicle, with the film Fargo, the Coen brothers return to the glory days of their Blood Simple. The film is chilling, but very funny and will definitely become a classic. The Baltimore Sun, this is simply a miracle, a tough, honest, and bloody film. The bright lights in the distance in the background feel like they are on another planet. It is fascinating from beginning to end. Fargo is a great American film. The Washington Post, the most impressive thing about Fargo is its tenderness, even more than the black comedy and shocking violence. It is a great work of art that can be watched again and again, and will never get old. Chapter 444, Probing Attack. In Aaron's mind, Fargo is the Coen brothers' best film to date. It's a rare masterpiece in both its presentation and its themes, but its strong Minnesota roots might not sit well with locals. The overemphasis on Minnesotan speech and thinking is just silly. That evening, Aaron returned to his Upper East Side villa. Leaning back on the sofa, he casually picked up a copy of Sports Week. The NBA's 50 greatest players list was quite captivating. Among the selected players, Pistol Pete Maravich has passed away. Of the 50, 11 are active players and 38 are retired. By position, there are 15 centers, 9 point guards, 9 shooting guards, 9 small forwards, and 8 power forwards. Shaquille O'Neal. Aaron smiled upon seeing the Sharks' name. No wonder the Orlando Magic spared no effort in appealing to the league. After all, Shaquille O'Neal had only played 4 seasons in the NBA, and compared to his predecessors, he was a typical 3-no player: no MVP, no championship, no All-NBA first-team selection. The Orlando Magic might truly regret their decision, but the Houston Rockets, unfortunately, did not violate league regulations by signing Shaquille O'Neal. The current Houston Rockets, besides Shaquille O'Neal, also include Charles Barkley and Clyde Drexler, all ranked among the league's top 50 stars. If Hakeem Olajuwon hadn't left the Rockets would currently have 4 active players ranked among the top 50. Furthermore, with the prospect of Tim Duncan, a once-in-a-lifetime talent, entering the draft next year, over a third of teams have chosen to tank this season. This is especially true for the San Antonio Spurs in the West and the Boston Celtics in the East, whose tanking has been incredibly aggressive. Furthermore, after the Chicago Bulls acquired Dennis Rodman from the Rockets, they formed a formidable Iron Triangle duo. On Christmas Eve, Aaron and his investment advisor, Edgar Irving, who manages Cheyenne Hay Fund, Met with Deutsche Bank's U.S. President, Gerinder von Hibbert. I need $300 million to $500 million in cash, Gerinder von Hibbert smiled. Mr. Anderson, when would you like it? As for the rest, Gerinder von Hibbert didn't ask any further questions. Aaron Anderson's assets were now innumerable. His shares in Sugwang alone were worth an astronomical sum. Aaron thought for a moment. As soon as possible, I'll go to Asia in late January. Asia? Gerinder von Hibbert nodded. The funds will arrive after the new year. Aaron needed to prepare for the Asian financial crisis next year. Opportunities like these don't come around often, and Aaron wouldn't miss them. After Grindel von Hibbert left, Aaron looked at Edgar Irving. Next spring, I need at least $2 billion. I can just use Cheyenne A Fund stock as collateral. You're familiar with the situation in Asia right now. Wall Street hedge funds, led by Quantum Fund, are already starving. Aaron was an investor in Omega, one of Wall Street's 4 largest hedge funds. Those international conscripts couldn't hold back any longer. Understood, Edgar Irving knew Aaron would make a big move in Asia, but he hadn't imagined it would be this large. Well, once the funds from Deutsche Bank arrive, I'll use them as margin to borrow Thai baht from a Thai bank. Edgar Irving was stunned. Will it start in Thailand this time? Pretty much. We'll launch an exploratory attack soon. The real estate market in Thailand seems to be starting to fall. Aaron would soon travel to Hong Kong after the new year. Understood. By then, I'll quickly gather the $2 billion needed. The following Christmas Day, Nicole Kidman arrived at Aaron's Upper East Side villa. Are you spending Christmas alone at home? Nicole Kidman was surprised to see Aaron Anderson lazily sprawled on the sofa. Aaron waved his hand casually. I'm just taking a few days to rest. Oh, Nicole Kidman said, sitting down next to the man. Last week, the movie I starred in, The Lady, officially opened in the US. Isn't it an art film? Did The Lady win an award at the Venice Film Festival? Aaron leaned into Nicole Kidman's arms, enjoying the gentle warmth. Nicole Kidman reached out and stroked Aaron's blonde hair. It's just a nomination, just a Best Supporting Actress nomination at the Golden Globes. It's nothing compared to The English Patient, which got so many nominations. Aaron kissed Nicole Kidman's fair cheek. You were quite impressive in The English Patient, based on Henry James's original novel and director Jane Campion's meticulous feminine vision. The English Patient exudes a poignant and subtle air. Nicole Kidman's paleness, slenderness, and classical elegance perfectly complement the role of Isabel Archer, bringing a delicate and profound portrayal of a noble woman pursuing her own self-improvement in the last century. It can be said that Nicole Kidman, with her exceptional temperament, portrays the heroine's naturalness, innocence, and romance, with plenty of unexpected surprises. Nicole Kidman smiled. Well, actually, I'm quite satisfied with my performance in The Lady. Although Nicole Kidman didn't win any acting awards for The Lady, the film certainly showcased her acting skills and style. At least, the label of Nicole Kidman as a vase wasn't mentioned much in this film. As she spoke, Nicole Kidman leaned in close to the man, nuzzling him affectionately. I heard you're working on a film adaptation of Chicago. Aaron smiled. Why, you want to be in it too? Nicole Kidman nodded. Why not me? Madonna Ciccone has already garnered considerable attention with the recently released musical Evita. Musicals have a natural appeal to award judges and critics. Honey, you also know that Chicago is a musical. There are a lot of dance performances in it, and it requires a lot of stage performance from the actors. If you don't have a good dance foundation, you will get injured easily. With Nicole Kidman's height of 180 centimeters, can her knees withstand dancing jazz? Chapter 445, Stranded Project. Universal chose Broadway choreographer and director Rob Marshall to direct Chicago, marking his Hollywood debut. The casting requirements were high, with a clear preference for actors with dance backgrounds. John Travolta, who had collaborated with Xu Guang on Pulp Fiction and Broken Arrow, was the top choice for the male lead. John Travolta was currently filming Xu Guang's action blockbuster Face Off. For the female lead, Aaron had already chosen Catherine Zeta-Jones and Charlize Theron, both beautiful women with years of dance experience. That night, in their bedroom bed, Aaron supported Nicole Kidman. Universal has a British romance coming up next, with the same crew behind 4 Weddings and a Funeral. Hugh Grant has been cast for the male lead, and you'll play the female lead, Nicole Kidman hummed, leaning in for a kiss. Sounds good. Soon, Nicole Kidman, breathless and sweaty, collapsed on Aaron's chest. Aaron caressed Nicole Kidman's fair and sexy body. It's called Notting Hill. which mainly tells the story of a big Hollywood star who meets the owner of a small bookstore in Notting Hill, London, while buying books. The two of them spark love and eventually reap a happy love story due to various coincidences. A top Hollywood actress and a low-key bookstore owner in London. Doesn't it sound romantic? Nicole Kidman raised the corner of her mouth. After my best friend's wedding, it seems that you haven't focused on romantic comedies. The romantic film script I acted in for you had to be Sleepless in Seattle a few years ago. Aaron stretched out his hand and rubbed the girl's chest, and said with some emotion, Notting Hill is similar to Sleepless in Seattle? The British producer Richard Curtis was preparing The Disaster of Mr. Bean before. I have been adapting the script of Notting Hill for several years, I see, Nicole Kidman said, covering Aaron's mouth with a passionate kiss. Aaron Anderson's work was sure to be a success. Although Nicole Kidman longed to star in award-winning films, she also appreciated well-received commercial films. After the kiss, Nicole Kidman hugged Aaron and asked, when are you returning to Los Angeles? In the next 2 days. What's up? Nothing, I just need to participate in some promotional activities for The Lady's Journey, and Polygram wants an Oscar nomination. After Christmas, Aaron returned to Los Angeles to prepare for the New Year's Eve celebrations, but a murder case shocked the United States. In Boulder, Colorado, a 6-year-old girl, Joan Bennett Ramsey, was murdered in her basement. Joan Bennett Ramsey had won the Miss America title in this year's Miss America Children's Pageant and was also awarded Miss Colorado and other honors. Aaron sat on the sofa at Point Dume Manor in Malibu, flipping through the newspaper. Joan Bennett Ramsey was adorable and beautiful, already a renowned child star. Yet, on the day after Christmas, she was found in the basement, having been sexually assaulted. The television station and police's primary suspects were her parents. This unsolved case remains unsolved, but Aaron did learn that her brother, 3 years her senior, was a more likely suspect than her parents. On New Year's Eve, at the Bel Air Hotel in Beverly Hills, Aaron and Jennifer Connelly had just finished dancing and gone to the bathroom. On his return, Aaron ran into director Edward Zwick. Aaron, there's a good script in Universal's copyright library. Perhaps you could pay attention to it. It was adapted by my neighbor Mark Norman and is called Shakespeare in Love. The main line of the story is anchored in Shakespeare's immortal masterpiece Romeo and Juliet. It tells the anecdotes of Shakespeare, a great writer, and his romantic love history. It also points out the reasons and process of Shakespeare's creation of the great work Romeo and Juliet. Listening to Edward Zwick's narration, Aaron was also stunned for a moment. Well, Shakespeare in Love, Edward Zwick nodded. I recommended this script to Universal 3 years ago. Universal expressed great interest and spent money to buy it. When Universal was preparing, the heroine chosen was Julia Roberts, and Julia Roberts agreed. At the same time, she recommended British actor Daniel Day-Lewis to play Shakespeare. Julia Roberts flew to England specifically to discuss working with Daniel Day-Lewis, Aaron said with a smile. And then Daniel Day-Lewis turned the role down, didn't he? After all, Shakespeare in Love hadn't been filmed 3 years earlier. Yes, Daniel Day-Lewis turned it down, citing his commitment to In the Name of the Father, and Julia Roberts subsequently withdrew from the project. Universal Pictures didn't want to waste too much time coordinating the casting, so they temporarily abandoned the film. Listening to Edward Zwick's story, Aaron finally understood. He smiled faintly. Although the project has been stalled for 3 years, it's ready to start anytime now. He then looked directly at Edward Zwick, his meaning clear. This film retells Shakespeare's beloved romance Romeo and Juliet, embedding the tragedy of Romeo and Juliet within the Hollywood genre. Using Shakespeare's work as a thread, it focuses on the great writer's love life. As for the director, who better than Edward Zwick? Besides, he was the one who recommended the script to Universal. Edward Zwick smiled helplessly. I just got a project to direct. 20th Century Fox's crime drama The Siege. Preliminary preparations are complete, and we're in the process of casting, so I really don't have time to direct this Shakespeare in Love. Edward Zwick just released the crime thriller The Fate of the Furious, starring Nicole Kidman and Denzel Washington. Now he's about to start a new project? Edward Zwick has collaborated with Xu Guang on Ghost and Legends of the Phoenix, so of course he is willing to continue collaborating on Shakespeare in Love. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 446 Terminator Series. Edwardswick was busy preparing for 20th Century Fox's new film, The Siege, which meant he didn't have time to develop Shakespeare in Love right now. Then wait another year. Once you finish filming The Siege, start Shakespeare in Love. Don wasn't short of projects, so giving one or two a break wouldn't be a problem. Edwardswick thought for a moment and nodded, okay. As soon as I finish filming The Siege, I'll start working on Shakespeare in Love. Aaron smiled. Alright, midnight is almost here, and it's the new year. Happy New Year, Happy New Year. With a stroke of midnight, 1997 officially arrived. Fireworks shot up from all over Los Angeles, blazing and exploding across the night sky. In his hilltop villa in Hollywood Park, Aaron stood in the observation room, overlooking Los Angeles, wondering what was going on. Aaron, the stocks of companies like Microsoft, Yahoo, AOL, Dell, and Cisco are showing impressive growth. You had Cheyenne A fund invest early. You had excellent vision. Jennifer Connelly slowly approached Aaron's side. Aaron smiled. I could spend all my assets in 10 lifetimes. Money is just a number to me now. Jennifer Connelly smiled but remained silent. What would Bill Gates, the world's richest man, say? Okay, I'm just kidding, Aaron said, pulling Jennifer Connelly into his arms. He reached into her pajamas and felt a 34D. Jennifer Connelly clung to him, moaning softly before tilting her head back and kissing Aaron. I heard you turned down director Martin Brest's new project, didn't you? Martin Brest had collaborated with Aaron on Scent of a Woman a few years ago, a critical and box office success. Yet, it's a fantasy romance. The budget he wants is too big, even more expensive than most special effects blockbusters. Martin Brest's new script is called Meet Joe Black, The Sixth Sense of Life and Death. The main story tells the story of the Grim Reaper who transforms into Joe Black to explore the life of media tycoon William Parrish. During this period, he falls in love with William's daughter and can't extricate himself. Aaron couldn't understand why a romance film needs such a high budget of $90 million, just like the black suspense drama True Love that Jonathan Demme was going to direct. It wanted a budget of $80 million, and Aaron turned it down out of hand. Now, even Sony has begun to restrain its film investment. Although Dawn has acquired Universal, it will not invest in movies without restraint. On the contrary, after Disney acquired ABC and Seagram acquired MGM, they have become more willing to spend money on movies. DreamWorks is filming their first film, Mouseda, and they're collaborating with Paramount on the war film Saving Private Ryan, Jennifer Connelly reminded him. Aaron smiled. It doesn't matter. DreamWorks has the money now, and they're willing to invest in new films. It's just that DreamWorks is just a startup, and they've expanded so quickly. There's no doubt that DreamWorks films will continue to be successful, but if there's a problem, it's a big problem. Even Steven Spielberg and Jeffrey Katzenberg couldn't achieve the same success as Aaron, making every film a hit. Well, of course, who in the whole Hollywood can compare with you? Jennifer Connelly said, putting her arms around Aaron's neck. Recently, something happened in Hollywood that you may not know. What is it? It's about the copyright of Terminator 3. Aaron was stunned for a moment, then sat on the sofa with his arms around Jennifer Connelly. The filming rights of Terminator 3 are in the hands of Carlock, and Carlock is still in bankruptcy and is under the trusteeship of the bank. Jennifer Connelly smiled. Mario Casale and Andrew Weiner, the two founders of Carlock, actually obtained the filming rights of Terminator 3 from the bank not long ago. Listening to Jennifer Connelly's story, it turned out that Mario Casale and Andrew Weiner overheard James Cameron say that Terminator 3 was still in the hands of the bank when they visited the set of Titanic. James Cameron originally planned to let 20th Century Fox support Terminator 3 after completing Titanic. Unfortunately, the speaker's intention was unintended, but the listener's intent was. Mario Casale and Andrew Weiner secretly persuaded the bank to acquire Carrick's half of the Terminator rights. They then acquired the other half from James Cameron's ex-wife, Gail Ann Hurd, and promised her future involvement in the production of the Terminator series. Mario Casale and Andrew Weiner, these two guys are amazing. How could these two have persuaded the bank to sell the Terminator rights separately? I wonder if James Cameron regrets it? After all, when Carrick went bankrupt, Schwarzenegger proposed that he and James Cameron jointly acquire the Terminator rights. Unfortunately, James Cameron thought it was unnecessary and simply notified 20th Century Fox, which would pay for the acquisition. Aaron was impressed. James Cameron's love for the Terminator series was undeniable. He couldn't believe that 20th Century Fox was just a little late in getting the rights, and they let two thieves steal them. I remember MGM was also very interested in the Terminator, and now, it's been stolen by two rats. Under the noses of 20th Century Fox and MGM, they acquired the film rights from the bankrupt Carlock. Aaron couldn't bear it. James Cameron just watched his own son being abducted like that? Yet, I also heard that Mario Kassar and Andrew Vajna certainly wanted to invite James Cameron and Arnold Schwarzenegger to join, but it seems that director James Cameron had a big fight with Mario Kassar and Andrew Vajna. It is obvious that Mario Kassar and Andrew Vajna will not be able to invite James Cameron to direct Terminator 3. James Cameron must be resentful of Mario Kassar and Andrew Vajna's betrayal. Aaron smiled. Let's see when Mario Kassar and Andrew Vajna will develop Terminator 3. They're all talented. Chapter 447 Feeling Stronger. With the official arrival of 1997, Aaron's eyes were fixed on Asia's financial and stock markets. After Deutsche Bank provided Aaron with a $350 million cash loan, Aaron had Edgar Irving begin signing forward contracts with the Bank of Thailand, lending large amounts of Thai baht. He was ready to follow other Wall Street hedge funds in shorting the Thai baht. In Los Angeles, Century City, at the Fairmont Century Plaza Hotel, Aaron and James Cameron were enjoying dinner together in a restaurant. Aaron wiped his mouth and said, I heard that Mario Kassar and Andrew Vajna acquired the rights to the Terminator without your knowledge. After all, you wrote this story. Does Universal need to take action? James Cameron had been busy with post-production on the film Titanic recently, otherwise Mario Kassar and Andrew Vajna wouldn't have taken advantage of this opportunity. Forget it. Mr. Peter Chernin asked for my opinion, and I gave up. Since they've acquired it, I've already decided not to direct Terminator 3. Whatever they want. It was clear that James Cameron was also very annoyed by Mario Kassar and Andrew Vajna's backstabbing. After all, after he sold the script to producer Gail Ann Hurd for $1 to direct the Terminator franchise, the Terminator series has become a major IP. Okay, Aaron smiled. If you need anything in the future, Universal will be happy to help. James Cameron looked at Aaron. Thank you. That evening, Aaron arrived at a suite on the upper floors of the hotel. Winona Ryder, who had just finished her shower, was waiting for him. It seems like you've been through a lot filming Alien 4, Aaron smiled as he lay on Winona Ryder in bed. Winona Ryder, with her refined short hair, opened her mouth, and hugged the man tightly with her lotus root-like arms. It was indeed a bit hard. The filming of Alien 4 took 6 months. Aaron rubbed the girl's chest and turned over with satisfaction. Universal has a script that is quite suitable for you, Shakespeare in Love. The director is Edward Zwick, but he is preparing for 20th Century Fox's new project The Siege. Shakespeare in Love may start shooting next year. Well, if you say it's suitable, then there is definitely no problem. Winona Ryder leaned into Aaron's arms, reached out and stroked little Aaron. 20th Century Fox seems to be rescreening the Star Wars series. Aaron nodded. I know, it will start at the end of this month, and the Star Wars trilogy will be rescreened one after another, of course. 20th Century Fox's rescreening of the Star Wars trilogy is also to promote the upcoming Star Wars prequel trilogy. Moreover, the old trilogy was re-released after being renamed as Star Wars 4, A New Hope, Star Wars 5, The Empire Strikes Back and Star Wars 6, Return of the Jedi. It is obvious that the Star Wars prequels are to be classified as the first trilogy. Winona Ryder directly blocked Aaron's mouth and kissed him. Aaron also responded enthusiastically, while caressing the girl's delicate body. Huh? After a while, Winona Ryder got into the quilt, and Aaron closed his eyes and enjoyed her service. Houston, Dawn Center. The Houston Rockets played against the Chicago Bulls at home. In the box, Aaron and Jack Wells were watching the game while talking. The Rockets played very well in the regular season. The Shaquille O'Neal and Charles Barkley duo is truly formidable. Aaron smiled. The Bulls' iron triangle seems quite strong, too. Jack Wells shook his head. It's hard to say. By the way, the newly formed WNBA team, the Houston Comets, also plays at the Dawn Center. Aaron smiled without saying anything. The WNBA, Women's National Basketball League, was founded by the NBA last year. This year marks its inaugural season, with 8 founding teams. The 4 Eastern Conference teams are the Charlotte Acupuncture, Cleveland Rockers, Houston Comets, and New York Liberty. And the Western Conference teams are the Los Angeles Sparks, Phoenix Mercury, Sacramento Monarchs, and Utah Stars. Actually, the United States already has another women's basketball league, the ABL, American Basketball League, and now the two women's leagues are forced to compete. David Stern said at a press conference last April that he wanted to establish a women's basketball league. I wonder what he was thinking. Aaron was definitely not optimistic about the WNBA. People like to watch men's sports, especially those like men. Jack Wells shrugged. We don't have to think too much about it. The WNBA is managed by the NBA anyway, the clubs are run by the NBA, and any losses the WNBA incurs are the league's responsibility. Today's WNBA clubs are all owned by the NBA, not by third-party investors or local NBA clubs. The WNBA's backing is the NBA, and its competitive advantage over the ABL is enormous. The women's basketball market is already small, and the ABL is no match for the WNBA in terms of market share. It's likely the ABL will disband soon, ceasing operations and handing over its personnel to the WNBA. However, the WNBA's losses are inevitable, and at that point, the NBA will undoubtedly choose to have third-party investors or local NBA clubs operate the WNBA clubs. It doesn't matter. If the NBA can't manage the WNBA clubs, the Houston Comets can easily be taken over by the Rockets. Anyway, we have our own stadium. Even if the Houston Comets lose money, it's still a small amount of money. Aaron didn't mind having another WNBA Houston Comets team. Currently, the Houston area boasts only two top-tier league clubs, the NBA's Houston Rockets and the MLB's Houston Astros. Another NFL club, the Houston Oilers, is relocating to Nashville, Tennessee. While baseball has a larger audience than basketball in the United States, the Rockets, having just won 2 consecutive championships, are enjoying a booming market, while the Astros, on the other hand, have little to offer. The NFL's Houston Oilers relocated due to a sluggish market and unresolved issues with their new stadium. The Houston area's defining team is the Houston Rockets. At this moment, Jack Wells, staring intently at the field, suddenly spoke up. Michael Jordan is truly amazing. With a $30 million annual salary, the Chicago Bulls are really getting something for it. Aaron narrowed his eyes. I think letting the Bulls acquire Dennis Rodman might have been a mistake. The iron triangle of Michael Jordan, Stephen Pippen, and Dennis Rodman seems even stronger than last year. Chapter 448 World Lighthouse. In Washington, D.C., at the White House's cinema, Aaron accompanied the Clintons for a preview of Air Force One. Air Force One embodies all the elements of an action movie, a series of unbelievable action sequences, a plot twist, and the formulaic American heroism of a trapped beast fighting a fierce enemy. It's a true showcase of Hollywood's top action filmmaking techniques, the essential heroic skill of becoming stronger when faced with greater odds and turning danger into fortune, all suited to the President of the United States. Clinton was amazed. Aaron, Hollywood's creativity is truly astonishing. The President of the United States slaughtered terrorists on all sides. This embodies the heroic values of modern Americans, the promotion of American political ideals, and represents the political orientation Americans support. Aaron smiled. It simply reflects the fundamentals of American ideology, values like democracy, freedom, Christianity, and family. Of course, to Aaron, Air Force One was just another Hollywood product. Grand scenes, intense fighting, thrilling plots, and expertly performed performances. It was nothing more than a fictional heroic story filmed against seemingly realistic backdrops. The president likes it, the public likes it. That's enough for Xu Guang. It means box office success. Clinton nodded. American values and universal culture have taken the world by storm, and Hollywood is absolutely indispensable. Jeans, McDonald's, Coca-Cola, pop music, and Hollywood films, these products, exported worldwide, have made America a beacon of the world, a light for humanity. As America's window to the world, Hollywood's importance is self-evident. I'm planning a trip to Asia. I want a piece of the financial plunder being perpetrated by those Wall Street crocodiles in Asia. Aaron suddenly spoke, staring at the screen. Clinton thought for a moment, puzzled. Aaron, your current wealth and assets already put you among the richest people. Why bother with hedge funds? Aaron shook his head. In business, if you don't advance, you'll retreat. The US is going to reap Asia this time, and I can't miss out. When the Soviet Union collapsed, I didn't have the capital to participate. I regret it so much, Clinton said helplessly. It's all Wall Street investors who are executing, with government support. However, Southeast Asia is a breakthrough point, and when Hong Kong returns, it will also be a key battlefield. Aaron returned to Los Angeles without attending Clinton's re-election inauguration. Meanwhile, the 54th Golden Globe Awards were held at the Beverly Hills Hilton Hotel. Crescent Films' The English Patient, directed by Anthony Minghella, won Best Picture, Drama. The musical adaptation of Evita won Best Picture, Musical or Comedy, and Madonna Ciccone won Best Actress, Musical or Comedy. Tom Cruise also won Best Actor, Musical or Comedy for Jimmy Jerry. Of course, the most memorable event was Sony Columbia's controversial film The Sex and the Bitch, which won Best Director and Best Screenplay. The Sex and the Bitch is based on the life of Larry Flynt, the founder of the famous American erotic magazine Hustler. Flynt, 53, was also invited to the Golden Globe Awards dinner. Afterward, Aaron attended a celebration party hosted by Dawn at the Four Seasons Hotel in Beverly Hills. Universal executive Brad Grey clinked his glasses with Aaron and said with a smile, "The English Patient has a very high reputation. We are very confident about the upcoming Oscars." Aaron nodded, "I heard that The English Patient was strongly boycotted by feminists and religious groups, right?" Brad Grey smiled, "Yes, the New York Times, Variety and other newspapers and weeklies have published articles condemning this movie as a lie to deceive the public, and even asked members of the jury of various film awards to refuse to vote for it. Since its release, The English Patient has only grossed $13 million. You know, Dawn is also an art film released during the Christmas season last year, and the box office of The English Patient has exceeded $30 million. 12 Monkeys has exceeded $40 million. Larry Flynt is truly a controversial figure, Aaron could only sigh. The erotic magazine he founded, Hustler, was far more distasteful than the likes of Playboy. Although Larry Flynt himself had become a billionaire thanks to Hustler, he was also sued over it, and the lawsuit dragged on for years. Furthermore, at the age of 36, Larry Flynt was shot by a white supremacist outside a Georgia courthouse, paralyzed from the waist down and confined to a wheelchair for the rest of his life. Later, his wife, Elsa, committed suicide due to drug overdose and AIDS. Director Michael Bay, there's a special effects disaster film project, Armageddon, about a meteorite impacting the Earth. In the early stages of development, Armageddon, Aaron's lips curled up involuntarily. Is the script finished? Michael Bay, with films like Bad Boys for Life and The Rock, was already a sought-after Hollywood director. Brad Grey reminded him, the script is still being revised, and the budget for the film is quite high. $140 million, Aaron remained calm. The previous film, Twister, cost almost $100 million. A $140 million budget isn't out of the question, Brad Grey pondered for a moment. It seems DreamWorks has a similar film idea, also about a meteorite impacting the Earth, called Armageddon, and I heard that Armageddon, like Saving Private Ryan, is a collaboration between DreamWorks and Paramount. Aaron was stunned. It seems like there won't be a shortage of special effects disaster films in the next few years. The success of Twister and Independence Day has indeed led to this trend. Aaron wasn't too worried about DreamWorks' Armageddon and Universal's Armageddon being of the same genre. After all, it's like wearing the same clothes. Only when the movies are released next year will we know who is more embarrassed. Universal's Liar Liar, starring Jim Carrey, is about to hit theaters this spring. Is everything okay? Aaron suddenly asked. Brad Grey shook his head. Jim Carrey's Liar Liar had very good previews. It won't be like Sony's Ace Agent last year. We're very confident. Hearing Brad Grey's words, Aaron was truly relieved. Chapter 449 National Goddess. Last summer, the Jim Carrey comedy Kingsman grossed just $60 million in North America and just over $100 million worldwide. This was Carrey's first film, for which he was paid $20 million, but it directly cost Sony money. Kingsman wasn't a box office hit, and its critical reception was equally dismal. Entertainment Weekly commented, Carrey's performance in Kingsman is a bit over the top, his attempt at self-transformation failing. The Hollywood Reporter commented, Carrey's performance in Kingsman not only has a rubbery exterior but also an almost pathological bravery that makes him look foolish, pushing the character into increasingly boring directions. The Chicago Tribune commented, Kingsman is a cruel and farcical experiment, conducted amidst the audience's commotion, leaving them feeling horrified, and the film's ending is disappointing. In the villa in Beverly Hills, Aaron woke up from the bed with his arms around Jennifer Aniston. With the end of the Golden Globe Awards, the Oscar nominations will be announced in a few days. The English Patient has received a lot of support, and it has a great chance of winning the Oscar for Best Picture, Jennifer Aniston leaned in Erin's arms with a smile on her face. Erin rubbed the girl's body. Shugwang has won no shortage of Oscars in recent years. Do you think I care? However, Erin was somewhat concerned about the movie Evita starring Madonna Ciccone and Antonio Banderas. This movie, adapted from the musical of the same name, was released at the end of last year. The North American box office has exceeded $25 million, and the reputation is also very high. Evita, the musical in which Madonna played the First Lady of Argentina, is really good. As a professional singer, Madonna has a huge advantage in singing songs. Jennifer Aniston, of course, knew about Evita when Erin mentioned it. She had been exposed to many plays during her time on Broadway. The film's most captivating elements are its dramatic storyline and beautiful, moving melodies. The film's music employs harmonic textures, rhythmic variations, choral accompaniment, and dance performances, incorporating a variety of musical styles, including operetta, pop, blues, and tango. The music cleverly connects each plot point, a method that not only enhances the plot and deepens the theme, but also fully demonstrates the unique power of music in film. Erin kissed Jennifer Aniston on the lips, caressing her voluptuous body. Jennifer Aniston hugged Erin tightly, responding enthusiastically. After the kiss, Jennifer Aniston collapsed into Erin's arms. What's wrong? Still wanting it? Erin's lips curled up. What do you think? Jennifer Aniston smiled, and then kissed the man. After a while, Erin, who was lying on the bed, exhaled, looked at the ceiling of the room, and his hands couldn't help but touch Jennifer Aniston's long golden hair. While enjoying Jennifer Aniston, he was also thinking about the musical movie Evita. Are singers more suitable for musicals? Because, in Evita, Madonna Ciccone's performance is indeed eye-catching. The American pop queen who has been wandering around in bad movies has contributed the most amazing performance so far in Evita. After Erin and Jennifer Aniston finished their breakfast, it was almost noon. Erin, the Super Bowl will be held in Louisiana, New Orleans in a week. Are you interested? On the sofa, Jennifer Aniston sat in Erin's arms, enjoying the tenderness. Erin shook his head. Super Bowl, I am interested, but unfortunately, I am not the owner of an NFL club. My interest is greatly reduced, and besides, I will be going to Asia soon. Wall Street is about to launch a tentative attack on the Thai baht. Plus, with Hong Kong's return imminent, Erin's current focus is mainly on the financial markets in Asia. Jennifer Aniston nodded. As for Asia, that's right. Universal Studios Japan is under construction in Osaka. Sugan's huge investment in Universal Studios Japan is as grand as Disney's investment in the Euro Disneyland project in Paris. Now everyone knows that Universal Studios Japan is Sugan's largest project at present, and Erin Anderson's attention to Universal Studios Japan is also true. Tell me about you. The fourth season of Friends is currently being filmed and will be broadcast in the fall. The ratings are soaring, especially the Rachel Green you play, who is extremely popular. Erin hugged Jennifer Aniston in his arms and kissed her, then put his hand into the girl's pajamas. You are the national goddess now. Jennifer Aniston, the well-deserved American sweetheart and the beauty in Friends, is now more and more famous. Well, Jennifer Aniston groaned, hugged Erin's neck, leaned close to the man's ear, blew a breath, and whispered, "Honey, the more famous I am, the more you feel conquered, right?" Erin felt the softness of the other party, squinted his eyes, and smiled slightly. "Annie, I feel like I have conquered you for a long time." Jennifer Aniston smiled and continued to whisper in Erin's ear, "In fact, it is also a great sense of accomplishment for me to be able to conquer the famous Erin Anderson. Have you heard of it? Men conquer the world, women conquer men." Erin's eyes widened, looking at Jennifer Aniston in his arms in disbelief. "This idea of yours is very dangerous. Can I be conquered by a woman?" Jennifer Aniston smiled without saying a word, hugged Erin's head and kissed him. 3 days after the end of the American Golden Globe Awards, Erin flew to Hong Kong. The first moment he arrived in Hong Kong, Erin smelled the restlessness and uneasiness in the air of Hong Kong. In the villa in Repulse Bay, Wang Xiuxin on the sofa was talking to Erin enthusiastically about the development momentum of Zinc VCD. "Your idea is right. We spent a lot of money on advertising, and now Zinc VCD sales are leading." Erin nodded. "Japan has launched a new generation of DVD players, and now the United States is also promoting DVD products." Erin was worried that Wang Xiuxin would fall into it, and reminded her to stay sober. Wang Xiuxin blinked, hugged Erin's arm and kissed the man on the face. "Don't worry, I understand what you mean. That's good. Chapter 450 Reserve Ammunition. Driven by the return to China wave in 1997, Hong Kong's real estate market spiraled out of control. The market value of Aaron's properties in Hong Kong had nearly doubled since he purchased them. Has the Hong Kong real estate bubble reached this point? Aaron flipped through the newspaper on the sofa in the living room. The real estate sector plays a disproportionate role in Hong Kong's economy. Especially in the fourth quarter of last year, Hong Kong's banks relaxed their mortgage lending standards, further fueling a surge of speculators into the market. With a return to China imminent, Hong Kong's real estate market is frantic, sending already skyrocketing prices soaring even further. Aaron, Wang Xiuxin emerged from the room. Is there something wrong? I have something to tell you. Wang Xiuxin sat on Aaron's lap. The new Stephen Chow film, The God of Cookery, invested by Media Asia, is currently in theaters and is doing very well. I know. I heard that the box office in Hong Kong has exceeded 35 million Hong Kong dollars, and it is likely to exceed 40 million Hong Kong dollars when it is released. The God of Cookery started to be released before Christmas last year, and it has been almost a month now. As he said, Aaron smiled and kissed Wang Xiuxin on the face. Media Asia has made a lot of money from the works they invested in these 2 years. 3 films in the Young and Dangerous series were released last year, and they all made money. Last year, the crew of The God of Cookery was invited to the Venice International Film Festival as an observation film. I know, you said that. Well, after the Venice screening, 20th Century Fox in Hollywood took a liking to it and was very interested in director Stephen Chow. They want to invite Stephen Chow to Hollywood to direct an American version of The God of Cookery. Aaron's eyes narrowed. 20th Century Fox wants to make an American version of The God of Cookery. Interesting. Is Hollywood now poaching Hong Kong directors? John Woo, needless to say, has already made 3 films in Hollywood, and Sui Hark's debut, The King's Avatar, is also about to be released. Not only directors, but also actors. Last year, Jack Chang's Rush Hour was a global hit, and it inspired many Hong Kong actors to go. Aaron nodded. He knew some of this. Jack Chang had already achieved success, Jet Li also wanted to go, and Chow Yun-fat had already gone to the United States. With the arrival of the Chinese New Year, Hong Kong was bustling with activity. In early February, Edgar Irving arrived in Hong Kong to join Aaron. We have borrowed 10 billion Thai baht, which is about $400 million at the current exchange rate. In addition, a loan of $2 billion in cash from a Wall Street bank is being processed and will be completed by next month at the latest, at the Kowloon Shangri-La Hotel, Edgar Irving reported to Aaron. Aaron nodded and said with a smile, Thailand is an undefended treasury. The 4 little tigers of Southeast Asia are all ready to eat. Keep an eye on the Quantum Fund. They will make a move soon. Just follow their pace. This time is just a test. After that, when the remaining funds are in place, start stockpiling ammunition. Edgar Owen thought for a moment and reminded, the economies of several Southeast Asian countries are not small. Do we really have to invest all of them? Aaron glanced at him and said, what is there to worry about in those Southeast Asian countries? It is not difficult for international hot money to bring them down. Aaron looked at Edgar Owen and said, my target is Southeast Asia, and then South Korea. Other international capitals will definitely turn their attention to Hong Kong and use Hong Kong's return to make trouble. Although Hong Kong's size is not as large as those of several Southeast Asian countries, its international financial status is very high. The guys at the Quantum Fund will not give up. At that time, we will not participate. All funds will be directed to South Korea. Understood. Edgar Owen certainly had no objection. Aaron was taking advantage of South Korea's financial crisis to carve a significant chunk of South Korea's wealth and control its chaebols. This was his chance. Meanwhile, the IMF, International Monetary Fund, warned that 2 years after the Mexican financial crisis, a record amount of hot money was pouring into emerging Asian markets, and irrational sentiment was spreading. Soon, international speculative capital, led by Quantum Fund, began shorting the Thai baht, borrowing and selling it. Within a week, the baht exchange rate plummeted to a 10-year low of 26.18 to the US dollar. The Bank of Thailand retaliated immediately, buying large amounts of baht on the foreign exchange market and raising short-term interest rates, significantly increasing the cost of capital for speculative investors. Okay, how many baht did we sell? Aaron called Edgar Owen at Yang Guangru's high-rise mansion in Causeway Bay. About 5 billion. Well, stop it. The Bank of Thailand still has some foreign exchange reserves. We need to stockpile a lot of ammunition in the future. I believe the real battle will come soon. The Bank of Thailand intervened, and the exchange rate of the Thai baht has been temporarily stabilized. Aaron was just following behind and cheering 5 billion baht is enough. However, the Thai government also consumed a lot of foreign exchange reserves this time. Next time, there will be no such obstacles. After hanging up the phone, Aaron took a look at the bustling night view of Causeway Bay, and his mood seemed very calm. Tonight is New Year's Eve, the most important night for the Chinese. Yang Guangru came to Aaron's side after a while. I know. It's Chinese New Year, so I stayed here to experience it. Aaron patted the girl on the shoulder. Let's go out and celebrate. Last year, you filmed 4 TV series and a movie. That's impressive. Yang Guangru smiled. The TV station took advantage of my Miss Asia fame to give me more resources. Hong Kong's film and television industry is incredibly developed, and the pace of filming for both movies and TV has always been rapid. There's no need to work so hard. The film and television industry in Hong Kong is in serious decline right now, and the market is shrinking. Just treat filming as a hobby. Soon, the two of them were at a nearby bar. Because it was New Year's Eve, the atmosphere in the bar was high, filled with alcohol and hormones. Aaron hugged Yang Guangru and sat on the sofa, kissing passionately. Aaron, Media Asia Films wants me to film a movie, Yang Guangru said affectionately, her arm around Aaron's neck. Then go ahead. Aaron smiled and rubbed the girl's body. Wang Xiuxin knew Yang Guangru anyway, and probably wanted to praise her as a newcomer. Yang Guangru kissed the man. Well, then I understand. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.